get started. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is, we love this. We've got here our Knight of Pentacles. Masculine and feminine energy that are moving into divine union or in divine union and partnership right now. This is more of the energy that we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. Masculine has been moving into a space and place of stability, of solidity. This is not a fast energy. This is an energy that is willing to take their time, allowing themselves to move in the direction that they are planning to move in. It's going to feel very methodical. It's going to feel like there isn't a rush. I'm not surprised to see this, considering the fact that we even recognized a bit of that slowdown yesterday that was coming through with our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. But one of the things that I want to amplify right now is, as I mentioned, for the energy in divine union, some of that preparation energy that we're effectively seeing right now is almost feeling like something that does not necessarily feel difficult. It's just a moment that needs to be traversed. Feminine is moving with a little bit more of that sense of protection right now. We saw that yesterday in the daily collective read. Feminine is almost feeling this point of amplification right now, of wanting to work to protect and defend the divine partnership that they are creating with the masculine at this time. And what we're almost seeing right now is feminine moving into that vibration of being so protective is actually giving the masculine energy this room right now to feel like they can take these leaps of faith. Masculine, for their part, this is what they're bringing back towards the feminine energy right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Creating that sense of stability, giving feminine that steady encouragement as they continue to learn to do this work for themselves at this time. Masculine and feminine energy that are moving into divine union, this is exactly what I was trying to amplify, needed to be brought in to the energies that are trying to come into divine union right now. What did I basically say was happening for those energies right now? Masculine may have had a bit of a real fast shift, going from almost like 0 to 80 as it relates to trying to come into divine union. Something happened over the last week with that point of masculine suddenly feeling this sense of anxiety, almost immediately recognizing that a lot of their priority was shifting potentially to the feminine energy that the divine union was potentially forming around. This may have led the masculine energy to want to take a lot of like fast leaps, almost taking a lot of leaps of faith towards the feminine at this time, that may have made the feminine almost have a little bit of a head spin moment. Specifically because we are identifying for the feminine energy that's experiencing this, it is not from potentially a lack of desire, but more so a feminine that is trying to identify and make sure that they can trust this sudden shift in the masculine energy. As I mentioned, this could even be a moment, and it was really important that communication was key, of feminine effectively trying to slow things down to a certain degree, but not due to a lack of desire, but more for the sake of making sure that this is a masculine energy that is not going to shift back out of this frequency as quickly as they shifted into it. Masculine, if you are experiencing this right now, it was really important that you recognize that the trepidation that you may have been seeing on the part of the feminine was not coming from a lack of desire. You're both on the same page as it relates to what you want. But it's more a feminine that was trying to move in this vibration of protecting their heart space from further hurts, because feminine may have even articulated over the last few days that this sense of trusting to this capacity may have led to heartbreak before, either with you, either situations and circumstances where something like this similarly had happened, or energy from the past. Feminine is effectively, if trying to move into divine union right now, having a sense of healthy optimism, but also with the fear that the rug may potentially be pulled out from underneath them. What are we seeing that the masculine energy right now is doing if you're continuing forward into the divine frequency? This is a masculine that's not pushing forward with their desire. They're not getting oppositional to a feminine that's slowing things down. Instead, because again, that wouldn't be divine union energy. That would be one person wanting to take the lead and the other one having to follow. Instead, we see that the masculine energy that's continuing forward in the divine union vibration, moving up into that divine union vibration, is taking the note from the feminine. effectively slowing things down, not rescinding the offer, but slowing the offer down to prove to the feminine the consistency of the vibration of the offer, effectively showing them that this isn't something that needs to be on a fast timeline, because this is something that the masculine is not going to change their mind about. It's the fact, the consistency, and this is what the feminine's trying to articulate to the masculine, is the divine union. It's not the actions that are taken to lead to the divine union. It is simply the consistency of it. Masculine and feminine that are in separation right now, this is effectively where we also see the reason for the separation, because we are effectively identifying this is either energy that's trying to come into divine union right now, and there now may effectively be a moment that there's almost a point of separation that's starting to happen right now. If a masculine is being too quick, too forceful here with the feminine, this is feminine almost again moving back into separation and saying to masculine, listen, I want the same things you do. I just need you to show me that you are going to be consistent in this way, that what you are offering me is something that can come in a normal level basis, as opposed to something that you are basically vacillating between different modalities right now. While for the other part of the feminine energy in separation right now, this is leaving oneself open to new opportunities and new possibilities as it relates to masculine energy. This is the feminine energy that effectively just recently cut a cord, potentially even over the last few days or the last week, and is now leaving themselves open, manifesting energy of masculine that is there in a consistent, steady way. Masculine energy in separation right now, a lot of that work that we potentially saw over the last few days as it relates to trying to come into a point of articulating and amplifying the big question that was coming towards masculine in separation over the last few days, either internally right now or literally externally, the energy around you that was effectively asking you this question as they were trying to help you through any of these circumstances that you found are difficult or trying, potentially even in relation to feminine energy right now, is answering that big question that we left the reading on yesterday, effectively asking what it is that you are truly seeking at this time. Masculine, there are some choices that we see that need to be made, specifically in the realm of where you are putting your time, effort, energy. Masculine, one of the things we like about this right now, if you're in separation, is today is almost an energy of a conviction coming through. Something that you have been thinking about or dwelling upon. This is that moment that we see that you're really firming up that decision or that choice as it relates to, again, something that you're going to start to move towards right now with a lot of care and intentionality. We like this too because this doesn't feel like something that feels like an immediate point of activation, but almost a set determination of a path that you are effectively trying to move towards right now. And this is that point of deciding where you're going to direct yourself and those offers and opportunities that you are putting forward at this time. So this could be a lot of that energy of the decisions that you were trying to reach yesterday, reaching a point of determination and conviction. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here, and we love to see it, our 6 of Swords in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now. One of the things that we see, feminine energy has been navigating a feeling, and again, for the feminine, this week has been a bit harder for the masculine if in divine union and partnership right now. Because while we see that the masculine has been utilizing this week right now for a lot of planning and a lot of communication, feminine has been feeling a lot more like they've been pushing off this feeling of crisis or disaster. Feminine has been taking a much more active role, almost overgiving to circumstances or scenarios right now. What we see and appreciate for the energy in divine union and partnership at this time is masculine is doing a lot of work right now to tangibly help lighten the load on the feminine as it relates to their own anxieties, their own doubts, their own fears, potentially helping and doing everything in a practical space to put the feminine energy's mind at ease in a practical way. This is a masculine, and this makes a lot of sense too, because one of the things that we saw was happening right now for the energy in divine union and partnership was that feeling of equal grief, of looking at moments this week, having to unpack some trauma, feeling the weight and the frustration of burdens, seeing the other one was carrying, but also feeling that sense of frustration in terms of what you can tangibly do to remove that sense of grief or frustration. Masculine potentially revealed to feminine their own doubts, their own fears at this time, doing a lot of that unpacking. Feminine effectively recognizing that one of the reasons the masculine doesn't like to do this is that understanding that feminine is so empathetic that when the masculine reveals these things to the feminine almost immediately embodies and takes on their emotional burden and their emotional baggage. Feminine was basically in that moment potentially accidentally or inadvertently took on the weight of two, because now it's like the masculine that opened up with their problems. Masculine's problems immediately became feminine's problems, but feminine feels they can't effectively do anything to adjust and accommodate for some of them. Masculine, in the same exact way, we see that for the masculine energy in this modality, there is this feeling of frustration in terms of what the feminine is bringing to the masculine. And we even saw here that this made a masculine potentially feel a point of deep anger and frustration, because this is potentially even a feminine that in the divine union is unpacking things, is opening things up right now for the feminine to reveal to them. And this is almost creating a point of deep frustration for the masculine energy in regard to the fact of seeing a feminine experience who has either experienced something from the past or is actively experiencing something that they themselves cannot tangibly change, but they have that desire to. So this is the masculine almost taking that right now and bringing it into a space or place wherein we are identifying that they can actually put some kind of action to help the feminine energy through any of those points of difficulty that they are currently experiencing at this time. For feminine, one of the things that you're potentially seeing right now, if in divine union and partnership at this moment, is due to the fact that we are identifying that feminine, you are seeing a masculine energy that is in this role, that is effectively allowing this point of doing everything they can to make things easier for you at this time, is further amplifying and securing the sense of divine union coming to the forefront here. Now, masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union and partnership right now, one of the things that we are appreciating and seeing at this time is due to the fact that we are recognizing that for the energy right now that is moving in that space or place of divine union and partnership, this is the masculine that is recognizing and hearing the feminine that is basically saying to them, we want the same things. We have the same desire here. I want what you want, but I want to slow things down. Feminine saying to masculine, I want you to show me that this change I'm seeing in you is consistent. It's not going to disappear as quickly as it arrived. And for the masculine and feminine in this modality right now, for the masculine hearing this, not utilizing the feminine's trepidation as a point of personal injury, which will immediately lead you back into separation, but instead utilizing that as an embodiment, as an understanding, as taking that note. What do we see that the masculine energy is doing here? The masculine energy is slowing down. They are following the feminine's guidance here. They are adjusting and modifying to fit the feminine energy's need in this moment by becoming the stable, consistent force of energy, almost saying to the feminine, we will do this on your timeline. We will do it at the pace that you desire that we do this, because I want you to go forward and I want to alleviate your fears. I want to take that grief, that anxiety, and potentially even recognizing and embodying, again, much like the energy in divine union, just like the masculine had to receive something from the feminine that felt like a burden, the weight of the emotional energy of the feminine expressing their doubts and fears getting embodied in the masculine. This is the masculine that is now, again, putting practical energy in to alleviating the fears of the feminine, moving into the divine union frequency. Now, feminine that is moving into divine union frequency, this is going to be hilarious because this is now a feminine that's almost immediately going to potentially rush forward in this way, because this is a feminine energy that is recognizing that this is not a masculine energy that's effectively decided to make a change and just expects everything to move in that direction now, and feminine has to kind of just follow or not. This is a feminine that is seeing and witnessing a masculine that is able to modify and slow things down for the comfort level of the feminine. And this is almost immediately bringing the feminine into a space or place where all of their fears are removed. This is almost immediately bringing them into that divine union mentality, because even the masculine, even just affirming to the feminine that they understand and they recognize, they see the feminine's own fears and they're willing to accommodate them, is almost immediately amplifying this energy right back into divine union. You're like right back on that path. You're like, whoop, right there. For masculine and feminine that are in separation right now, this is a moment that, again, and I need to stress this, making sure that this was not, some of this energy is going to be very silly that you're not in divine union right now, because again, if there was a point of miscommunication, and I swear, if you did not listen to me about communication, if you didn't listen about communication, because I said, make sure that you weren't being misunderstood. Make sure you didn't misinterpret what someone was saying to you. If this is a masculine that tried to offer something to the feminine, and the feminine was like, I want this, but I just need you to slow this down. If this is a masculine that didn't see that this was coming from a feminine trying to protect their heart space, then this is potentially a lot of masculine energy that might just move into this modality and be like, I don't know what you want from me. I'm trying to offer you something. I don't know what you want. I'm going to take my ball and go home kind of energy, because this is a masculine that may be misinterpreting that this isn't a case of the feminine not desiring that, but is just trying to make sure that it's not doing what you're just doing now, which is, again, an energy that is inconsistent, that tried to bring something forward to the feminine. The feminine said, I just need to make sure that this is consistent. And if the masculine went, well, fine, you don't want this, I don't need to offer this to you, like you just validated the inconsistency that the feminine was afraid of, right? Do you see that? So I just need to stress, that's why I was stressing to make sure that there wasn't a miscommunication point or a feeling of injury coming through in a masculine trying to step forward to a feminine, and a feminine trying to slow something down to make sure the rug wasn't going to get pulled out from under them. Because for some of you, that's just what you did. You just affirmed the feminine's fears by doing that. Like in the moment of the feminine saying, can we just slow things down a little? The other part from feminine energy that is in separation right now, there could be this moment that we're potentially seeing that is unfolding here, again, due to the fact of a masculine that you are now feeling even more potentially confused on, because there could be a moment right now of a masculine, some of this feminine energy right now is dipping back into separation, because this masculine is going in and out of the door. They're like offering something and then they're withdrawing it. They're offering something and then they're withdrawing it. And this is the feminine that's potentially feeling some point of grief here. And this could even be the feminine trying to articulate to the masculine and say, do you not realize you're doing exactly what I was worried that you would do? And this is the feminine almost immediately getting confirmation of the masculine in this modality, which is going to feel like a little bit of a hair puller, because it's like the fact of the feminine feeling like, again, it's not the fact that the masculine is offering something, but they're not recognizing that the thing that they're offering is more tangible. It's not the actual divine union, because the divine union isn't something that like lives in an object or in an action. It is a vibration that you maintain. For masculine and feminine separation right now, in a way, if that's happening, if this is a masculine energy that's going back and forth, this is almost a feminine energy that's like getting confirmation that the offer itself is not consistent, that there's a masculine that vacillates potentially in what they want. And this is a feminine energy that's almost saying to the masculine, listen, when you're sure of what you want, you know where to find me, but it needs to stay consistent. The feminine's almost trying to amplify to the masculine that it's too much mind-bending to have an energy that goes back and forth in terms of offering something and then potentially withdrawing it. For the other part of the feminine energy and separation right now, this is just further confirmation of the feminine effectively looking for that energy as it relates to the fact that the feminine is trying to basically make sure that they're moving forward at this time, releasing any grief, looking for the consistency of an offer right now. Now, for masculine energy and separation right now, this is that moment of a decision point being reached. The last few days, if you're masculine in separation, they may have been feeling like a lot of grief coming into situations or circumstances. You're getting a lot of lessons right now. The problem with a lot of those lessons is they're not just coming through means of the feminine that you're in partnership at this time. Rather, what we're effectively seeing at this time is due to the fact that we are identifying that for a lot of the masculine in separation right now, it's not just the fact that there's a feminine that was trying to bring some point of view to you as it relates to some blind spots in your own actions, or potentially, again, having felt like they tried to reach out to you, building that emotional connective bridge, and you basically slapped their hand away, almost affirming to the feminine that you would not be there in their hour of need. This is almost masculine getting affirmation from other energy around them as it relates to the perception that you may not necessarily have seen within your own self right now. There's almost this like point of observation that is trying to be brought to a lot of the masculine energy and separation right now about your own actions and how they may be interpreted and viewed right now. That's not just coming from the feminine in the romantic sense, but is almost potentially even coming and articulating itself through energy of positive karmic connections that are around you at this time, trying to show you something for the sake of your own good, for the sake of positivity. And for the masculine embodying this, we're seeing that again, this is leading to those two different modalities, either letting this be that deeper sense of understanding, recognizing something in a way that you haven't seen before, having that clarity of self coming through the observation of others, but it's feeling a little overwhelming because it's making you feel the grief in seeing things from that outside perspective that is effectively having to make you adjust your own behavior going forward. Or you're taking a very unilateral approach on this, potentially even causing some friction or some points of dispute between some of that karmic energy that's trying to bring these things around you, potentially moving more in that sense of a persecution narrative and feeling like nobody understands you and just making plans to get away from that type of energy, period. For the masculine energy and separation right now, this is that moment that over the last day or so, you have been having to basically reach a decision point, because regardless of whether you're embodying that lesson or not, it is giving you a note of activation. There's something that you need to change or adjust. You need either adjust and move away from the energy that's trying to tell you these things for the sake of their own care and support for you, or this is you wanting to take that note deeply into yourself and have that be a point of activation in terms of changing your own decision. Because the biggest question we see is coming through with masculine right now in separation is almost something that feels more like an internal existential one in relation to asking what it is that you truly want, what it is that you're truly seeking. This is the masculine energy in separation right now, effectively affirming this to themselves, building this sense of conviction. And what we like about the masculine energy in separation right now that is building this sense of conviction, either going back to past situations and circumstances with the lessons that you have now embodied, being able to build that sense of connectivity through means of accountability and change, or bringing them forward into the future, into new possibilities. In either sense here, we see that the conviction is starting to come firm. It's starting to really build into a sense of resolve. And in a way, that in itself is helping relieve and ease some of those feelings of grief that you're carrying, because the resolve is effectively giving you something to do with a lot of that energy of grief that you've been experiencing over the last few days. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here, I'm not surprised to see it, this is the same card we pulled yesterday in the same position, our Emperor in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now that are moving in divine union and partnership. This is that moment that, again, masculine, it's not that everything is particularly easy right now. We're about to pop into this Mercury retrograde energy. You're already starting potentially to feel some of that slowdown. The slowdown itself is almost a point of frustration, even for the masculine, because one of the things that we're effectively seeing at this time is, again, over all of the frequency patterns, things are not moving at the pace that the masculine would ideally aspire to. Masculine almost wants to speed some things up right now, but masculine's also recognizing to a certain extent they can't. They're almost powerless to be able to adjust the pace at which something is moving, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For the masculine energy in this modality right now, there is something a little disempowering about being in that modality, because again, it does feel like there's some situations and circumstances right now, even for the energy in divine union and partnership, that are effectively and essentially out or beyond your control. We even recognize this over the last few days, because one of the things that we saw that was happening with the masculine energy over the last few days is seeing, and again, if in divine union, having that point of recognizing a feminine that was around you that was experiencing their own difficulties, their own burdens, their own traumas, recognizing that something about those traumas were ones that you could not relieve. That is their burden to carry. That is their weight to bear. But instead, masculine, what are you doing to try to help yourself through these places and spaces that you are feeling some of that feeling of a lack of control? You are doing everything you can now to ease that burden, both for the partnered, companionate energy around you right now, but also for the sake of your own self. Because again, this is a moment that because you are becoming in balance with your feminine energy, the energy of the emotional burden that is being carried by the partner is effectively also your own. You are sharing this burden. You are doing everything you can to create these places and spaces of easement by means of practical, tangible effort. Feminine, you're seeing this on the part of the masculine right now, if in divine union. This is a masculine energy that again, and this is why we see that the feminine energy aspires and appreciates the energy around them right now, if in divine union and partnership, because feminine recognizes that this is not a masculine energy that needs to oversee, like have full control of everything at all times. This is companionate energy. This is energy that is built to have partnership. This is energy that's coming into alignment. But also for the feminine right now, we almost see that the feminine sees what's happening here. That masculine, and this is why we see that this is the burden of feminine, having masculine effectively revealed to them over the last few days, if in divine union and partnership, feminine had to bear the weight of masculine, almost amplifying to them that the reason that the masculine was moving in a much more cavalier attitude was due to the fact that the masculine doesn't allow themselves to fully experience and embody their feelings or fears, because once they start, they can't stop. For feminine, this is almost that moment of seeing and recognizing now that the masculine is trying to put that energy, put that anxiety and fear into spaces and places that they can actually see and tangibly adjust. It's going to give a lot of like fix it energy right now of masculine, like wanting to put their hands on something to tangibly fix things, to be able to accommodate for all of those things around them right now that they necessarily can't like actually tangibly put their hands on. Masculine and feminine energy that are moving into divine union and partnership right now. This is going to feel a lot more like that make or break point, because what did I say is effectively happening? We are seeing here that this is a masculine that has felt over the last few days that divine union starting to form with the feminine. Again, it's almost feeling like something that masculine has very little control over. It's almost the masculine feeling like they're watching all of their eggs just move from all of these different baskets into one basket. And masculine almost feels like I described it as a bit of like an oh no kind of feeling, because it's not something that the masculine feels like they have much control over. Remember that part that I said that I just mentioned for the energies in partnership? Once it starts, you can't stop it. Masculine's feeling a little bit like that right now with divine union. Masculine's like, this is just what it is right now. I'm trying to make some tangible adjustments to accommodate for the way that I feel at this time. The problem that the masculine is experiencing is the fact that something around the circumstance or situation is forcing them to slow the roll. It's forcing you to slow your roll a little bit, because again, if you're listening, if you're paying attention to the partnership possibility, this is a feminine that's effectively saying to you in one way, shape, or form, I want what you want, but I want to make sure that it's not something that you're going to change your mind about. I want to make sure that it's not something that's just going to disappear as quickly as it arrived. I need you to show me that this is something that is consistent, as opposed to something that you're just like having this immediate adjustment for, because something that comes in, feminine feels like something that comes in quickly can be pulled away just as quickly. The consistency for the feminine right now is key. And so masculine, you're in the same exact modality right now if you're moving into divine union as the masculine energy that's in partnership. What did I just say is happening? You want things to be moving on a faster timeline. But again, because you recognize that this isn't everything about you moving in a unilateral way, this is a divine union energy that is coming through right now. This is effectively a masculine that's feeling the frustration of feeling a little bit of lack of control in terms of being able to do everything exactly the way that they want it to be done, but instead taking the note of the feminine. easing the feminine's burdens, utilizing this as a point of observation to ease and alleviate the feminine's doubts and fears by slowing it down, by being patient, by moving in a patient fashion, i.e. giving feminine confirmation that, again, divine union for feminine, and this is what feminine is experiencing. Feminine is realizing divine union doesn't come with a ring. It doesn't come with a house. It doesn't come with someone calling you their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. It comes from the consistency of the connection. It is a vibration. It is a frequency. It is not something that you can just leap into and say, now we're here. Now we're on this side of it. It's not something you just jump over. This is feminine effectively seeing and saying, again, seeing a masculine that literally, and this is the funny part about it, just the masculine saying, we are doing this together. Whatever you feel comfortable with. My offer still stands. I still want this. What are we going to do? How are we going to make this real? At what pace? The masculine having the ability to show the feminine that they can slow something down is almost immediately bringing this back into divine union, because this is a feminine that's getting affirmation that this is not something that the masculine is trying to accommodate for and adjust unilaterally, not divine union, but instead is changing their frequency, collaborating with the energy of the feminine to move at a sense of personal easement. And it's like feminine being like, we're in divine union. This is feminine being like, okay, it's happened. This is divine union, because the consistency is the divine union. Masculine, if you were in a space or state where you tried to offer something to the feminine, I really hope you guys listened to me over the last few days. If you tried to offer something to the feminine, and the feminine basically said in some way, energetically or tangibly to you, I want that too, but I just want to slow things down because this seems like it's coming out of the blue and I don't understand what the change is. I don't understand what's coming over you. Everything feels different. And instead of recognizing that that was coming from a feminine trying to protect their energy, trying to move again, wanting to take that leap, but being very trepidatious as they do so. If this is an energy of a masculine that said, well, forget it. No, forget it. It's fine. If you don't want it, I don't want it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just moving forward. Then you just effectively proved you just proved to the feminine. You just did exactly what the feminine was aware of. Exactly. You just did exactly what the feminine said that they were afraid that you would do. And for the feminine that's seeing that right now, this is confirmation that you are still in separation. This is not a divine union energy, because this is a feminine that is releasing the grief and almost immediately going into separation, because feminine is feeling confirmation that the offer itself is not actually a real, legitimate, consistent offer, because it's vacillating between being handed and being rescinded, between being handed and being rescinded. That is not the divine union. That is just an offer, and it is the opposite of a divine union, because there is no consistency in what is being offered. For the feminine that is experiencing this is almost immediately moving them forward and saying, no, this is just more silliness. This is just more chaos. This is an energy of a masculine that doesn't know what they want and doesn't have control over themselves. For feminine in that vibration, we find that goes back into the separation energy of feminine right now, which again is allowing themselves, trying to release grief right now from a masculine energy that they feel effectively is in a space that they're trying to be controlling, or things need to be only their way, but instead moving forward to seek masculine energy that is able to offer something in a steady, consistent fashion. Masculine energy, if you're in separation right now, please tell me that this didn't occur. I really hope that this wasn't a situation where you tried to rush forward because you were so excited. Feminine asked you to slow down. And then instead of matching the feminine's vibration here, recognizing that this was coming from a point of fear, if instead you got reactive and instead you got upset because things weren't going the way that you wanted them to go, well, congratulations, you're back in separation, because you effectively just amplified exactly what the feminine's deepest fears were, that the offer that you were offering was not coming from a state of consistency. It was coming more potentially from a state or space of you wanting things to be the way that you wanted them to be. And that was potentially creating a problem area. You may be acknowledging this right now. If this is something that happened, you may be realizing this right now, and it may be feeling like a moment that, again, hopefully it feels like it's a learning moment, because again, in a way, it's almost that point of observation right now. If the masculine's in separation, in recognizing a point of self-mastery is potentially in need here, because again, it's almost like you just amplified the feminine's deepest fears through your actions. Now, for the other part of the masculine collective right now, one of the things that we're potentially seeing is, again, one of the things that we identified was happening for some of the energy of masculine in separation right now is, as I said, there's a note that's coming to you right now. There is a lesson that is being imparted that is feeling like it is very hard to avoid. And this is almost a moment right now for the masculine that something about, again, your own actions in this moment is almost amplifying the lesson that others are trying to shed towards you right now. There's this moment of, again, not necessarily being able to avoid this lesson that's coming through, because a lot of it has to do with the point, and again, this is why it's a beautiful message. It is a moment of deeper mastery of the self that's coming through. That question, again, if it's coming from partnership energy right now, or even from energy around you right now that has your best interest in heart, that deeper question is, what is it that you truly want? That was the question that was coming over again and again and again in the cards yesterday. What it is that you truly want. Masculine, something about that decision point right now is helping you build that sense of determination right now. It's forming. You're doing a lot of this work now for the sense of the self. Masculine energy and separation right now, it's feeling like a lot of this internal journey, because it's not even based right now on partnership. It is that deeper question that you are asking yourself, saying, what is it that you value? What is it that you want? What is it that is your true pursuit? What does that look like? What shape does it take? And for a lot of the masculine energy right now, this is a lot of energy of conviction, of determination, of casting that direction, yourself in that direction. And a lot of it is coming, and this is why it's so positive, through the sense of recognizing that you're going to have to make some adjustments and changes in your own life to be able to fully embody that path forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our Queen of Wands, and we love to see this card right now. Thank you so much for the gift. Masculine and feminine energy right now that are in divine union and divine partnership. What we effectively see is, again, what is happening at a moment right now of masculine. Feminine is potentially seeing beyond the veil to a certain extent around a masculine energy right now. There's this beautiful moment of a feminine that may be seeing a masculine that's trying to busy their hands, trying to put like tangible work into spaces and places right now, doing whatever they can around situations and circumstances. Feminine may even be identifying that this is a masculine energy, that again, it's almost this point of frustration in terms of not knowing what to do with themselves at this time, right? It's almost the feminine seeing this right now and almost recognizing, if in divine union and partnership, this is a masculine that needs to find something to do, and they need to find something to put their attention on, specifically because there are some things right now that the masculine is effectively waiting on to a certain extent that they don't necessarily have full control on. But again, the beauty of the divine union is feminine is almost seeing the fact that masculine is in this modality. Feminine's almost saying to the masculine, feminine's almost helping the masculine, giving them that point of things to do to help the masculine through this right now, or seeing a masculine that's getting, I have to say, this is almost the masculine this is giving a lot of energy of masculine if in divine union, looking for something to tangibly do right now to help come over any sense of not having power in some other areas right now. Feminine energy in this modality right now may be effectively helping the masculine in this way, because again, this is almost a feminine energy, if in divine union, that sees the masculine's need to do this in this way. This is the feminine that recognizes that this is almost a way of the masculine clearing their own heart space. Because what did the masculine energy say to the feminine over the last few days, if in divine union and partnership, either metaphysically or tangibly? That the masculine doesn't let themselves go through those points of discussing their doubts, their fears, their anxieties, because the masculine feels that fear of once they start, not being able to stop. Feminine's almost seeing this now. Feminine's seeing that point of observation, having a better sense of clarity on the masculine energy. Feminine, you are seeing again, you are feeling that amplification. This is feminine energy that's been working on balancing their own masculine energy over the last week or so. Again, what has the feminine energy been learning from the masculine? Feminine's been learning that act of stoicism. Feminine has been basically, thank you for the gift, getting that point of observation of the masculine in terms of saying, like, it's not that I don't feel the fears that you feel. I just don't let myself embody them. I keep going anyway. I work through that point of fear. It's almost masculine saying to the feminine, you think I'm not afraid. I'm always afraid. I do everything from a point of deep fear. Feminine is embodying that lesson of stoicism and is effectively trying to basically match the masculine energy's own vibration here, because again, the feminine is a mirror. They are a mirror, and they are mirroring the lesson that the masculine is bringing forth to them. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Feminine, what is feminine doing? Feminine is seeing a masculine in a point of need. So what is the feminine doing? The feminine is embodying the traits of the masculine and saying, again, over the last few days, I am going to do everything I can right now to defend our partnership, to defend our union. This is feminine taking a lot of that masculine energy in on themselves right now. Again, because the feminine energy doesn't like to have to be strong in that way unless they feel like they are protecting something. And the feminine feels like they're protecting the masculine in this modality. Masculine, if you are in divine union right now, you are seeing this energy in your feminine. You are seeing that this is a feminine that is capable, that is working, that is actively working to do a lot of things right now, not just for themselves, but for the sake of the partnership on the whole. And this is why we see that in a way that, again, much like I said, when the divine union's working well, the reason the masculine energy likes this divine union so much is because when it's working well, you don't need to put a lot of energy into it. It's almost like you just got to give it, like, it's like I described that wheel. Like when the wheel's spinning and the wheel's spinning well, you don't need to like drag it against anything. You just need to give it like a little bit of a tap. You just need to touch it gently. You just need to continue to like give it that sense of support, and everything continues to move forward in a beautiful way. So for the energy of divine union right now, this is effectively what is happening. You know, I even describe this as, again, masculine feeling that supportive energy and feeling like things are easier for them on account of a feminine that is effectively like, growing in their own sense of self that is also immediately coming back to the masculine. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union and partnership right now, this is that moment that is effectively amplifying whether masculine has understood and recognized the lesson of the divine union, which is, again, a feminine that is effectively trying to say to the masculine some point of fact in saying, I want what you want. We are on the same page. The important thing, though, is the feminine trying to say to the masculine, if this is a masculine that suddenly out of the blue is suddenly trying to take a lot of these movements forward as it relates to divine union, this is a feminine energy that's basically saying, I want to make sure that this is consistent. I want to be able to plan. We need time to plan things. We need direction. We need to like slow things down so that we can do these things effectively. Now, again, a masculine energy that is recognizing that this isn't a point of injury to their own ego, for a feminine that effectively you're potentially trying to move towards right now and said, like, pump the brakes a little bit. This is a masculine energy that is effectively almost amplifying to the feminine and saying, absolutely, I understand that. This isn't something that I'm trying to do for myself. This is something that we need to do together. I can slow things down. I don't have to feel like I'm the one making all of the decisions. I don't want to be the one making all the decisions. I want to make sure that this is something that we are both comfortable with. This is masculine, again, adjusting, accommodating their frequency to match the feminines. And immediately, this is a feminine going, awesome, let's do it tomorrow. I swear, this is literally one of those moments where feminine goes, slow down. Masculine goes, I want this. Feminine goes, slow down. Masculine goes, fine. Okay, yes, we can slow down. And feminine goes, cool, we can do it tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a feminine that all the feminine needed to see is a masculine that would be willing, that isn't trying to just make unilateral decisions here, but is trying to recognize the sense of comfort for the feminine to have that degree, that is feminine almost immediately getting affirmation that this isn't a masculine energy, that this is a masculine energy that's able to bring in that point of consistency, that's showing that consistency, because that's a feminine being like, we're already in divine union. That's a feminine being like, we're already in divine union if the feminine's seeing that happening. This is energy that's now immediately in that divine union frequency. If this is, if this is masculine energy that, again, had this sea change happen, had this moment of feeling this degree of wanting to move closer to feminine this week after all of that connective tissue was built through a point of crisis, okay, and was like trying to make a point of determination, and feminine basically said, I want what you want, but I want to just slow down and make sure that this is consistent. If this is a masculine energy that said, absolutely not, okay, you don't want this, what are you up to, what you don't really want what you want, this doesn't make any sense, I'm taking this and going away. This is a feminine that is now literally looking at the masculine and trying to say, you do see that you just did what I was worried that you would do. And this is almost a feminine being like, this is a feminine literally being like, you just did the thing that I said that I was worried about you doing. Like, that is exactly the feminine immediately moving back into separation if that occurs, because this is a feminine that the masculine, like, she feels potentially the frustration of a masculine energy that cannot see their own forest through their own trees. This is a feminine that's like, I just articulated that I was worried that you would do this, and you just did it. And this is literally a feminine trying potentially in separation right now to amplify to the masculine, be like, can you see that you, and this, like, can you see that you just did, and this is potentially a feminine just throwing their hands up, moving into separation and going, if they can't see this, if they can't see this in themselves, then there's no hope for this. There's no hope for this, because this is a feminine that, again, is almost looking at a masculine that lacks self-understanding, that lacks self-mastery, that doesn't have the ability to see themselves. And this is a feminine saying, feminine almost looking at this and, again, feeling the frustration. Is probably very frustrating for the feminine that's going through that right now, because it's literally just like a mind-dropping moment, because it's almost like like you're literally trying to bring logic into a situation where someone can't see logic. Masculine, feminine energy that's in separation right now, or has been in separation, this is more of that point, potentially even, again, if this is some of that energy, it's retrograde, guys. If this is some of that energy that the feminine tried to build that connective tissue with last week, and it's trying to come back to feminine, this is potentially feminine articulating and explaining why this is not something that feminine can feel like they can go back to right now. Because this is almost the feminine, again, amplifying to a masculine that lack of balance. Again, trying to show the masculine something that they feel like the masculine can't see in themselves. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, and feminine's being very articulate on it today. So we could see a lot of feminines that are potentially trying to explain to masculines if this is the case, or if this is a masculine that like pushed feminine away in an hour of need at a moment where they needed someone emotionally and they weren't there. This is feminine potentially articulating to masculine the fact that the inconsistency is what is creating a determinative factor that they have to move away from something right now. This is the feminine articulating that they need a masculine energy that is always there for them, even when things are difficult. That in itself is what the feminine is trying to manifest, and that's why we see that the feminine is moving forward in this capacity. Masculine energy in separation right now, this is going to feel a lot more difficult, because again, something has been brought to your attention over the last few days, or it's being brought to your attention right now. Again, not just from potentially the energy of the feminine, but even potentially healthy karmic energies that are around you right now that are trying to bring you this point of clarity, trying to show you some blind spot in your own person. This has been a moment over the last few days that may be feeling like a lot of that personal journeying that's occurring within the self, because the deeper question that is being asked right now to the masculine in separation is, what is it that you truly want? Now, for some of this masculine energy over the last few days, this is that moment of bringing forward that offer, that opportunity, going towards, again, a feminine energy from the past, coming into it with a sense, but only through accountability in terms of recognizing that you now see the changes in your own person that you are trying to give evidence to through your actions. Or this is masculine energy that is now taking these lessons and is ready to go forward with conviction on the path that they have decided upon. For a lot of that masculine energy, that is moving towards a manifestation of feminine. This is either a new manifestation of feminine that they feel is in that point of activation, seeking out that feminine energy that has had these moments of also being on a journey, working to balance their own masculine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Or this is masculine moving towards an energy that they recognize is in this modality that they feel is open and receptive to communication. Again, this is masculine effectively getting more serious to a certain degree towards what it is that they are truly after. For some of the masculine energy right now, this could either be a confidant energy, getting that sense of support, potentially even, again, having that point of clarification to some of the positive karmic energy around you that may have been trying to give you this insight on your own self. Like I said, potentially going to energy right now and saying you had a point. What you showed me is correct. Or this is masculine energy that is now moving forward with that conviction to help build towards that as they go forward from this point. Now, continuing for feminine energy that is in separate, and for now, a lot of the masculine energy that is in separation. Some of this masculine energy, you just went back into separation. But again, you're going back into separation and you're recognizing you're potentially in separation right now. And there's potentially a feminine around you that's trying to show you something and say, can you not see this about yourself? This is more of that lesson coming through. But again, it's almost building your own sense of conviction and determination at this time. It's giving you that point of clarity, because even if you're being a little stubborn about it, it's something that you can't avoid seeing. There's a lot of this energy right now around the masculine and separation on a blind spot that you're being shown that you can't avoid seeing, because everybody's like pointing it out to you. They're going like, there's something on your shirt. Like, do you see that? Like, do you see that? What is that? You know, like... Feminine energy in separation right now. This is feminine energy just maintaining their conviction. This is feminine energy, again, being very articulate. And again, it's not the fact that the feminine is open. Look at this. Feminine is open for business as it relates to talking to energy right now. If someone comes towards the feminine and says, what's the problem here? Feminine's going to be all ears and doing it. The only thing that the feminine is basically avoiding is energy that's not coming towards them from a state or space of curiosity, but feels like it's more in a controlling vibration. Feminine's almost like just releasing any of that energy if it feels like it's very unilateral, or it's feeling like it's not coming from a state or space of curiosity and consistency. Feminine is just dropping it. Feminine's just going, boom, like, I don't want it. Feminine's like focusing on the energy around them that is consistent. The consistency is key. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today. May I please have the card? We've got here our Ace of Wands in its reversal. A lot of activation energy for feminine right now. Feminine is very, 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 very busy today. Metaphysically, literally, tangibly. Feminine energy is just getting stuff done today. This is not a weekend to the feminine. This is a day of getting things done. Feminine energy is almost like, this is like giving a lot of like squirrel in winter effect. Feminine's trying to get as much done as possible. I almost feel like this is almost like feminine trying to like, I feel like there's a lot of feminine that are rushing around right now doing like, I got to get a lot of stuff before the Mercury retrograde starts. This is like a lot of that, like that squirrel energy, you know, this is feminine energy trying to like do everything they can to like get that nut right now prior to like the retrograde starting. This is, again, masculine is like slowing things down already. Masculine's more in this like hobbit energy. Feminine's like, no, like rushing as much as they can right now as it relates to this. And so this is a lot of the feminine trying to do everything they can right now to shore things up, to have points of activation, to get as many things done as possible. One of the only problems right now as it relates to masculine and feminine is like feminine energy is feeling a lot of that passion, that creativity, wanting to channel it right now, wanting to put it in those spaces and places. While masculine today, this is more of that sense of, again, slow and steady, that turtle energy, trying to like have those points right now of kind of like moving in a bit more of a sense of methodicalness. But again, a lot of this is almost kind of feeling masculine is feeling almost forced to do this right now, because there's some things around masculine that they may be feeling are already kind of slowing down to a certain degree. This is also masculine, again, giving the feminine just that gentle support right now that is helping feminine stay in that modality. Feminine, you're seeing that on the part of the divine masculine in union, and that is what's also amplifying this for you right now. There could be a lot of passionate energy right now, a lot of passion right now for feminine, a lot of passion. You know what I mean? Masculine energy and feminine that are trying to come into partnership. This feminine passion could be looked at as a positive or a negative right now. And this is the funny part about this. What did I just say happened? For energy right now of a masculine, if this was a circumstance or situation where masculine was trying to like move things very quickly forward right now in the sense of divine union, and feminine said to masculine, wait, just slow things down. Just slow things down a minute. I need to like understand where this is coming from. As long as the masculine followed the feminine's lead, as long as the masculine was like, of course, take all the time that you need right now. Feminine's like, okay, let's do it tomorrow. This is literally more of that. Like, let's do it tomorrow. Like, this is the feminine that just needed, like, again, that emotional and spiritual moment to really understand and recognize that this isn't a masculine that's just trying to, like, call all the shots or move things in a certain direction for their own sense of unilateral desire, but is willing to, like, match the feminine's own vibration. This is a feminine that's almost like, again, what are they doing? They're mirroring the masculine energy. They're going, okay, cool. Yeah, so let's do it tomorrow, like you said. This is literally just the feminine that needed that point of confirmation that this was not a masculine that was going to like pull things away as quickly as they brought them forth. Now, masculine, seeing this right now, you could also be kind of laughing to yourself right now if you're experiencing this, because there is potentially something here that feels a little funny, because this could be a moment where, again, it's a point where you tried to offer something to feminine, and then the feminine was almost like no, or pulling back, and you were like, okay, I thought you wanted that, but we can move at your speed. And then feminine's like, okay, now. Like, it's almost to a certain extent masculine. If you're experiencing this right now, it could also similarly feel confusing, because again, it's almost the feminine is now feeling like they're the ones that are like shifting gears. But this is effectively why. This is a masculine, if you're recognizing this. This is a feminine that wants to feel like they are a point of that you are in a point of collaboration, that this is a collaborative effort. It's not just you kind of like, putting your stamp on things or moving things forward and the feminine has to follow. Feminine wants to feel like they are a participant. Feminine is almost immediately amplifying and saying, I want the same thing too. Feminine just needed that like moment of support to know that you weren't going to pull this away. God, I swear, if some of the masculine again went into separation because of this, I swear. If the masculine energy did that, if the masculine energy literally tried to move forward with the feminine in some way right now, and the feminine said, whoa, let's just smooth the brakes for a minute. Can we just smooth the brakes? Can we just ease things up for a second so I can understand where this is coming from? What's the rush? Why do we have to move so quickly? If the masculine didn't say to the feminine, this is on your timeline, what you need, blah, 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 I'm here, I can accommodate. If instead the masculine then said, no, I want it this way, I want to do it this way, blah, 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 or no, I'm taking this away. Oh, clearly I thought you wanted this, you don't want it, it's fine, I don't want it either. This is now a feminine that is potentially like about to lose their mind, because this is a feminine energy. What is the feminine energy doing? The feminine energy is literally trying to show the masculine and say, can you not see that you just did the thing that I was so worried? The whole reason I said to slow down was because I literally thought that you would do this. This is literally a feminine energy that's trying to like walk the masculine right now through like the logical fallacy of their own actions to say, can you not see that you are doing exactly what I thought that you would do? This is not happening. Like, this is and for the feminine right now, this is almost the feminine trying to amplify to say to the masculine that's doing this, I want this. I want this too. come back here. I want this too. But again, if this is a masculine that is utilizing that as a point of, again, moving back into taking a moment of withdrawing what they were just offering, this is feminine getting confirmation that this is something that they potentially need to move away from, because it is not a consistent offer. It is a masculine that is doing exactly what they were worried that they would do, which is like offering something on a Wednesday and then pulling it away on a Thursday. The inconsistency is something, and again, feminine's even seeing the fact in that moment that this feels almost like a bit more of a manipulation, because it's requiring the feminine to like put double effort in to try to clarify to the masculine that what they're doing doesn't make a lick of sense. For feminine in this modality right now, this is potentially rising up as a point of frustration, but also observation in terms of feeling like something here doesn't feel like it is functional. It's almost amplifying, and it could create a moment right now for feminine that, again, it feels like it is controlling, because now it's not the sense of feeling like this is moving into divine union. It's starting to feel like a masculine that's offering something by me and then withdrawing it by means of a point of control, right? Giving it forward and then pulling back, coming forward and then pulling back. Feminine is almost potentially saying to the masculine, if that's happening right now, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, and I don't appreciate it. And this is, again, these energies are back in separation if that's the case, because feminine energy just got confirmation on what they were deeply afraid of. Masculine energy, if you're in separation over this, then this is that moment that, again, you're making this a power struggle. You're not in a space or place of divine union, because instead of this, you're looking at something and you're saying to yourself, oh, this is like, this is someone who like wants control over the situation. But this isn't a moment of the feminine wanting control over a situation. This is a feminine that's trying to collaborate with you and feels like you're not necessarily being an ideal collaborator, because there's something here, and a feminine may even be trying to amplify this to you, that this doesn't feel like a collaboration so much as it feels like you effectively wanting to be able to like make all of the decisions, have all the choices, run, like do all, like everything is on your timeline instead of matching or merging or coming into collaboration here. And again, for some of the masculine energy right now, this is that moment that you may even recognize that something that you did may have just amplified what the feminine was afraid of. You may see this. You have to see, there's a part of you that potentially is seeing this, because one of the major lessons that we're seeing that's happening right now for the masculine energy in this modality right now is there's a message, there's a lesson that's coming to you that is very hard to avoid. This is coming right now from feminine, not just from partnership, but we even saw over the last few days from the healthy karmic energy around you right now that is trying to help you see this blind spot. And it's all for the sake of helping you effectively move forward with that deepened sense of self. So for masculine right now, this could be feeling like a lot of this sense right now of trying to move into this vibration of self-control. Now for masculine energy, for some of the masculine energy right now, this is that moment that you may be looking at yourself. If you've been in separation for some time right now, there's something here about allowing yourself on this path of trying to come into better mastery of the self right now. And again, that's either being amplified by wanting to move in the direction of a particular feminine energy that's in this modality, or this is getting some kind of guidance from energy that is around you right now of supportive feminine that's trying to show you these aspects to your person to help you move into that better sense of self. Again, moving into this sense of a deepened conviction. But what we like about this is, again, this is masculine looking at that mastery of themselves to bring themselves into better connection of feminine. The feminine that they're effectively either trying to manifest at this moment, or a feminine energy that they want to return back to with that sense of accountability, with that sense of a real offer, but recognizing that the only way to come towards that feminine energy, if this is an old energy, is a point of confirmation in terms of expressing and amplifying what you recognize that you need to change about yourself that is going to allow for more positive, productive outcomes. For a lot of this masculine energy today, is going to feel like a day of a lot of potential communication, but also intentionality coming into focus, because we see here that for masculine and feminine, there is a lot of practical application coming into play. Masculine, this could be a moment, again, for a lot of the masculine energy, if in separation, there's some kind of determining factor about trying to make sure that your actions are able to really amplify to the feminine that what your intentions are. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Clarification between our Knight of Pentacles and our Six of Swords in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Justice card. Balance. Balance coming into play. Balance being key for masculine and feminine energy right now that are in divine union and partnership. It is this sense of balance that we are effectively seeing at this time that is allowing things in divine union and partnership to feel like they've reached a level or degree of productivity. Masculine and feminine energy right now, you are working on a point of balance. Masculine, you are feeling potentially very balanced today. Again, a moment of feeling that sense or that wave of easement coming through, having some sense of relief around circumstances or situations. And it is coming from a sense of balance, of feeling that equilibrium. Something about being able to put that application on things right now. You're putting your time and effort and energy in spaces and places that are helping you feel that sense of balance. Feminine, you are also feeling that sense of balance, and that sense of balance is empowering you right now as it relates to creative pursuits and creative endeavors. You are working right now in coming into that point of balance. Masculine and feminine energy right now, if in divine union and partnership, this is hitting that balance point. And that balance point is being reached right now by almost creating that sense of support for the other. Masculine is helping the feminine alleviate their fears through practical effort right now. Feminine is working to alleviate masculine's fears by putting a lot of work, effort, and energy into the spaces and places that they feel a lot of their creativity and communication lie within right now. Masculine and feminine energy right now, if moving into divine union, it's funny because you already are in divine union. If this is a masculine energy that, again, was willing to be able to slow that option down, taking what they want to bring forth to the feminine saying, can we slow down in a minute? Masculine saying, sure. And then feminine being like, great, I want to be on the same exact timeline. I want to do exactly everything that you just said that you wanted to do. This is masculine almost feeling like it's going to feel like an airplane that's going like this a little bit and then just immediately like hits that. It was just this moment of like recalibration of masculine going up, feminine going down, and then masculine just needing to lower a little bit for feminine to meet them. So then like it's all about coming into balance. Like that's all the feminine needed to see. Masculine's like, I want to do this. Feminine's like, wait. Masculine's like, okay. And then feminine's like, okay, yes. And now you guys are on that equal playing field, right? It was literally like one of these. You went over. You alleviated. This is masculine literally being willing to come into a state or space of compromise and being able to get everything that you desire simply from coming from a perspective of being willing to compromise. Feminine, you're effectively seeing this too, because again, you're recognizing and seeing in this a masculine that is willing to work with you. They're willing to collaborate. This isn't a masculine that's just trying to say how things are. It's a masculine that is paying attention to your needs and meeting you where you're at. Masculine and feminine, they're in separation right now. This is going to feel like a point for the feminine. If this brought you into separation, it's going to be like a little bit of a hair puller today. It's going to be a lot of the feminine energy, like literally feeling the frustration of trying to look at something and trying to bring that level of like sanity or balance into play here. Because this is, again, a feminine that is trying to make sure that they're not misunderstood, but almost feeling to a certain extent that this is almost a masculine energy that potentially feels like they are intentionally misunderstanding the feminine. And this is almost the feminine that, again, may potentially get a little bit upset today, or potentially may be like working very hard in terms of trying to stay balanced as they try to show masculine something that the masculine feels like they are very reluctant or resistant to see. Specifically because this is a feminine that's trying to say to the masculine, if this is a masculine that tried to offer feminine something, feminine said, wait, I'm not, like, can we slow down? And masculine said, forget it. This is almost a feminine being like, can you not understand? I want the same things you do. This is almost a feminine energy trying to like, feels like they have to like double down right now to try to say like, can you not see reason on this? Can you not see that I'm just looking to make sure that something is level, that something is fair, that something is balanced? Trying to, again, articulate to the masculine, it's not that I don't want this. And this could even feel to a certain extent of feminine trying to over recalibrate right now. If this is a masculine that is now being reluctant and resistant due to the feminine energy's own immediate moment of resistance. This is almost a feminine energy, though, at the same time, almost catching themselves as they do so. This is almost a feminine energy that's almost immediately catching themselves as they do so, because this is almost a feminine energy that is seeing. If this is an energy of a masculine that put something forward and then pulled it back, this is almost a feminine energy, almost immediately catch. Like, this is literally a feminine energy that's about to get started and then is like, no, wait. No, wait. No. This is a feminine energy saying, I'm not going to explain this to you. I see what's happening. This is literally the feminine energy saying to them, like, I see what you're doing. I see what this is. I am going to maintain this is feminine almost immediately going into that point of balance and being like, it's okay. I like, and again, feminine almost immediately going to separation and getting affirmation that what was being offered was not actually a consistent offer. Feminine almost articulating it and then potentially just dropping it and being like, okay, you just validated. Feminine almost saying to masculine, you just validated that wasn't real. You just validated to me that what you were offering wasn't consistent. You just validated it. You just proved, this feminine almost saying to masculine, you just proved my fear right. Okay? And that's the feminine going back into separation and saying, I'm looking for a divine union which is consistent. Masculine energy, I swear, and for masculine energy, if this was something that just occurred, you may have this moment that, again, if you're seeing this or experiencing this, you're looking at this and being like, potentially, she's right. You know, this could be that moment where you're almost like recognizing if this happened and you moved into a separation over it. Again, this point, it may be feeling like it's going to feel like a little bit of a frustration point here, because like you may be seeing the fact that you just, like, you may be getting from the feminine, like they just, you just did what you may realize that you just did what they were afraid of. You just amplified exactly, like I told you, there's a blind spot that that is being shown to masculine right now that is very, very hard to avoid. And this is masculine, same as the masculine that's in separation right now, seeing the blind spot, again, one way or another. And it is helping you come into, even if you're in separation right now, better balance with the self, because you're seeing something and you can't avoid seeing it. But again, it's also giving you some point of conviction and balance. It's giving you some point of intention right now. It is coming from a need of setting things right, coming into balance, wanting to create that point of balance. Now, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our Six of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Emperor in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Ay vey. This is some of that retrograde showing up. Clarification coming through right now. Okay? Between our Emperor in its reversal in combination with our Six of Swords in its reversal. We've got our Five of Wands. So, masculine and feminine energy that are moving through, again, in divine union and partnership. There is this feeling of conflict that is around you right now. This is, again, either internally within the partnership itself or externally. A lot of this is going to be on the part of the masculine right now. A lot of this is the part of the masculine feeling the weight of some internal struggling right now that is effectively difficult to bear. Masculine is going through a moment right now that is creating this feeling of struggle around them. This is either a tangible struggle or something that feels more metaphysical. Masculine is going through this moment right now of navigating this, but also trying to find an easement of their own grief. They're trying to make things easier right now. But again, it is hard because there's an aspect of this right now that feels like it is disempowering to the masculine, even if in divine union and partnership right now. there is this feeling of masculine energy that is doing everything they can on a practical level, but they're feeling like in some way, shape, or form, there is something around them right now that they feel is more of an intangible struggle point that is harder to navigate. A lot of it has to do with masculine's own feelings of self-control at this time. This is why we see a lot of this is going to feel right now like masculine is struggling to release a lot of grief and anxiety, but also feeling a lot of difficulty in doing so. So even today, we see that masculine may be more in a point. Masculine could be a little bit more, it might be a little bit harder today to be able to communicate with masculine in this modality right now, because this does show the sense or the ability of masculine to get a little triggered today, potentially and especially around anything that feels like a point of conflict. Masculine is almost like masculine was getting very defensive, potentially even around feminine energy right now. And feminine, again, one of the things that's happening right now is masculine is potentially, again, seeing feminine struggling with things that the masculine can't effectively put tangible effort and energy in. It's not something that the masculine can just fix with their hands right now. It's more something that the masculine feels a little bit powerless to help with to a certain degree. That's why we see that the masculine's trying to find spaces and places to tangibly help in some way, shape, or form. Now, feminine in this modality right now, this is similarly a moment right now where you may be seeing that the masculine is going through some point of internal struggle. Feminine may be trying right now to articulate and speak to the masculine around some of this feeling that they're seeing or having some kind of evidence on. This is a lot of that energy that the feminine may have saw coming up over the last few days around masculine, but we are effectively identifying to a certain extent that, again, this is a masculine that doesn't feel inclined to talk about these things. This is a masculine that's just almost looking at being I don't want to talk about this stuff right now. I just want to find things to do to get my mind off of it. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union and partnership right now. This is that moment that may feel again, and I need to make sure masculine energy isn't getting misunderstood in this regard, especially if this is energy moving into divine union right now, wherein masculine tried to offer feminine something, and then feminine said, no, wait, slow down. And masculine was okay, we can slow down. And the feminine's all right, let's do it tomorrow. Again, matching the masculine. One of the things that could happen right now that masculine needs to make sure that they're not misinterpreting is this is not a feminine energy that was trying to make things difficult just for the sake of making things difficult. This was a feminine energy we are seeing that was feeling the trepidation of fearing that the rug was going to get pulled out from under them. They wanted to make sure that this was a moment of coming into collaboration as opposed to wanting there be a point or a space of just having one person unilaterally deciding what direction to move into right now. So what we're effectively seeing right now is, again, a masculine that may be feeling a little bit of a point of frustration even for a feminine, because this is literally a masculine who's I would like to give you this. And feminine's no, let's slow down. A masculine being okay, let's slow down. And then feminine being okay, cool, I want to do that. Let's do it tomorrow. And so in a way, this could create some of that confusion right now. The same confusion that feminine was feeling in the sea change right now, masculine is now feeling in the sea change, because again, the feminine is a mirror, and the feminine is mirroring back the confusion of going back and forth right now that they may have seen within the masculine. That's just what's happening. And this is a masculine that may feel a little bit confused right now, but again, is also trying to come into that point of balance. This could even have a little bit of fractiousness, even in the partnership energy, and being I thought you wanted to slow things down. And feminine being well, it's not that I wanted to slow things down. You know what I mean? It's literally, that's why I'm saying right now, communication is really, really key because this could even lead to a little bit of this energy of masculine feeling the feminine's being confusing and being I thought you said you wanted to slow down. Now you want to speed back up. Feminine, if you're seeing this right now with the masculine, again, this is almost this point that may feel you might get a little defensive, because this is a masculine that may be feeling a little disempowered from this right now, but having to amplify and articulate that you weren't doing this to create a point of conflict, not just trying to make something difficult for the sake of making things difficult, but instead amplifying and articulating that potentially the reason that you are being a little resistant was because of your own fear of the masculine potentially withdrawing the offer of is something that needs to potentially be articulated upon to make sure that there isn't a point of miscommunication. This may be harder for the feminine to articulate, so feminine, make sure that you're articulating and explaining that today. Masculine and feminine energy. If this is a moment where masculine tried to offer something to feminine and feminine asked them to slow it down, or they needed some time, or they wanted to ease it, and this is a moment of masculine effectively taking that as a point of personal insult or injury, this is now feeling like a little bit of a nightmare scenario, because what we're effectively seeing at this time is potentially a feminine that is trying to amplify to a masculine in any way possible, that they weren't just trying to create a point of conflict, that they do in fact want what the masculine wants. They were just trying to make sure that it was coming through consistently. And if the masculine is now withdrawing the offer because the feminine needed that moment of calibration, this is almost a feminine that is now feeling extremely frustrated because they're trying to explain to a masculine that they weren't effectively saying no. They were just asking for there to be a moment of pause to be able to come into collaboration, as opposed to something that felt like it was very unilateral. This is potentially now creating a huge source of frustration that's leading back into separation, and it's going to feel doubly so because we're seeing that the feminine energy is now moving into a state of frustrated conviction, trying to amplify to the masculine and explain that this is not this is not what the feminine intended. This is the opposite of what the feminine intended, that this is a feminine energy that is effectively now feeling like they're trying to get through to a masculine that feels extremely reluctant and resistant to hear them. But potentially we're also seeing right now that a feminine energy is almost amplifying to the masculine, that the fact that the masculine may be being so resistant in this capacity is further proof to the feminine that offer that the masculine was making, that they are now withdrawing, was not in fact an offer, but was more something that this is now fulfilling the prophecy that the feminine thought was going to occur, of something that was being offered to just pull the rug out from under the feminine. This is the feminine that's now almost again immediately moving back into separation, while also trying to amplify to the masculine that something about the offer itself feels now like it wasn't an actual true offer, but more a masculine that was trying to show some level or degree of control over a situation. Do you see how this is spiraling into a point of confusion right now? Now, masculine and feminine energy masculine energy that is moving right now into trying to move into divine union, this is a moment that is going to start to feel potentially like a power struggle, because this is again now a moment that instead of recognizing and identifying that this was a feminine energy that just was feeling the anxiety and making sure that what you were offering them wasn't in fact an illusion, but something that was going to be consistent, you're potentially seeing that your actions right now, if this is what dropped you back into separation, are validating that point. And this now may be feeling like a point of struggle, because you may realize that you've put yourself at a disadvantage, because now you are literally embodying the thing that the feminine energy was most fearing. That you basically did that, and now this could be feeling like a point of stubbornness, because now this is a point that may be feeling very difficult, because you can't necessarily come out of the space or state that you've found yourself in, because you now feel overly disempowered by a feminine energy that, again, it's almost like something that you were trying to bring to the feminine from a space and place of positivity has become the source of conflict. So again, if you want to pull out of this, the best thing for everyone to do is have a little bit of empathy and recognize potentially that everyone's intentions are getting misunderstood. Masculine, it may have to take a point of accountability in terms of, again, fulfilling the feminine energy's worst fears in this way. Feminine, it may be a point of recognizing it and having to explain to the masculine that what you were saying was not a no. It was coming from a state of fear as it relates to the fear that the masculine wasn't truly intending the intention of what they were offering, but it was feeling more like a like anxiety that it might be something that was being offered quickly and was being as quickly withdrawn. Feminine energy in separation right now, this is almost amplifying the point of separation. And for a lot of the feminine energy right now in separation, this could be feeling a lot of potential anger or frustration around circumstances or situations that may have created any of these logical disparities for you. This could be a lot of that retrograde energy starting to show itself. And some of this potentially has to do with some energy that potentially is returning back to feminine at this time. The important value point that the feminine is making right now as it relates to any energy that's approaching them in separation right now is whether the energy is coming towards them from a state or place of desiring peace, or if they're just coming to pick back up a conflict point. Feminine energy, again, is leaving themselves open to manifestations of masculine, but only, all manifestations of masculine, but only insofar as bringing a sense of restoration, of bringing a sense of peace. Do you come in peace, or are you coming to try to create and stir up more conflict? That's basically feminine's like gateway point in terms of any of the masculine energy that is coming towards them right now to effectively identify whether they feel like they're coming in peace towards them or if they're just coming to stir up more conflict. Continuing to get clarification for masculine energy that's been in separation right now, this is that moment that, again, you're experiencing that point of disempowerment. It is now a moment of, again, trying to understand this empowerment of the self. This is a masculine energy right now that is looking at a lot of these spaces and places in their own life. And again, places of conflict where you wanted to desire to bring peace. The problem with the masculine energy in this modality right now is there's something about this moment right now, masculine, if you're in separation, that realizes that you are going to basically kind of lay the template as to how this goes, but it requires you to have a higher mastery of self. Like the only way to enter right now a space or place that you know is going to be a fraught territory is if you have mastered a sense of the self so that you don't let it become a conflict point and you are really able to amplify the fact that you're approaching situations and circumstances from a state of easement. This is something that feels like a real challenge of the masculine right now because, again, this is a point of observation and something that needs to be mastered within the self. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Emperor in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Oh my goodness, this is just, retrograde is here. Retrograde is here. Masculine and feminine energy right now that are in divine union and partnership. There's a lot of the past rising to the surface right now. And I gotta stress, it's having a bit of an impact right now. It's having a different impact depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy. But it also shows a lot of the work that's been happening in the time intervening between the retrograde periods. Because it's not the fact of the past rising to the surface right now. It's all about how it is impacting and affecting the energies right now. Okay? Because what we are effectively seeing at this time is masculine energy. There's something about that past rising back up right now that's feeling disempowering. It's not feeling like a productive space or place. There's something here that's making you kind of aware of some personal weaknesses right now. It's hitting you in some Achilles heel energy. There's something here that's like poking at that Achilles heel right now as it rises back to the surface, either metaphysically right now or quite tangibly. Feminine is potentially seeing this right now. That same energy is coming towards the feminine during this retrograde period. Things are coming back from the surface, but feminine is in a much better place. Why? Because feminine energy has been learning these lessons right now of stoicism ever since the Venus in retrograde cycle. Feminine's been coming into alignment with their masculine energy right now. So feminine, in a way, this is like feminine energy getting into that like Rocky like strength training moment. You know what I mean? This is like Rocky running up the stairs. This is feminine being like, I knew this was coming. I'm ready for it. Like feminine's been like, oh, I knew, like I've been waiting for this to happen. I've been waiting for that to rise up. Feminine's like, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Feminine's like, I've been like practicing how to use this like stick for like weeks. This is feminine being like, this is why feminine's been like in squirrel energy. Feminine's like, oh, I know, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Feminine's like much more like ready to like duke it out. Okay. Masculine's more like, oh no. And this is a bit of a role reversal that's happening right now in the divine union energy, because we've got the masculine that sees the things coming up right now. Masculine's going, but this is why. What does feminine like to do? Feminine will pick up a blade to defend, like to defend things, okay? To defend the things that they need to defend. And this is feminine basically saying like, not on my watch. Not on my watch. I will stress right now, it's really important right now. Feminine energy, make sure you don't kind of get yourself like, feminine's feeling like ready to like, go to bat right now for masculine. The masculine energy around them that feminine feels needs defending. This is feminine energy, like really like ready to like take a blow at someone. This is feminine energy, like ready, just like pulling their fist back and being like, is anybody messing with you? Like, this is feminine looking at masculine right now going, is there anyone is messing with you? Is there someone that I need to like pop? Like, it's almost the feminine doing this right now. But again, it's coming from a state or space of masculine having opened up to feminine, revealed their anxieties, revealed their weaknesses, revealed those moments. Masculine, again, what did we say was happening in the divine union energy? What did I say was happening over the last few days? Masculine and feminine were saying to one another, show me where you are vulnerable. Show me your vulnerabilities so that I can protect them. Masculine, effectively, in some way, shape, or form, has done this right now for the feminine. And the feminine is effectively like feminine. And again, feminine is a mirror. So what did the masculine in divine partnership do to the feminine? The masculine said to the feminine energy over the last few days in divine partnership, show me your vulnerabilities. Show me where they hurt you so that I can show you what I am going to protect at all costs. Okay? And now, feminine energy is reflecting that back to the masculine and saying, show me where they hurt you. And I am going to protect that space at all costs. And that is having to do with any circumstances and situations from the past that are rising back up to the surface right now. Retrograde. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine partnership. Geez Louise, please don't be the past rising back up to the surface for each other right now, because that's what we were effectively seeing that was happening here. For feminine, if this was a moment where masculine had like a complete sea change, just boom, like one day turned around over the last few days and was like, I would like to move forward. I would like to do this. I would like to do that. And feminine was like, what did feminine do? Feminine said, I've been here before. I've experienced this before. People have pulled the rug out from under me before. Can we just slow this down a little bit? Can we just slow this down? I just want to make sure that I can trust this. If masculine said, yes, we can trust, yes, we can do that, then this is a feminine that says, okay, good. And this is a feminine literally saying to masculine, if the masculine's saying, and now feminine's like, okay, let's do it now. And masculine going, why? Feminine is literally saying to masculine, because I've had this happen before. I've had people say that they've wanted this. I've had the moments where this has happened, and then they pulled it away from me very quickly. I just wanted to know I could trust this. This is feminine literally explaining this to the masculine right now. If the masculine is amplifying and articulating why they're confused, why feminine said no first and then said yes. If this is a masculine that literally just offered something to feminine, and feminine said, okay, I like, can we just slow this down? I just need a minute. And masculine said, no, forget this. I didn't even offer this. This is feminine that's now like deep in the retrograde, because this is feminine going, it's happening again. It's happening again. You just did it again. I've seen this before. This is a repetition of a cycle. This is me and this is literally feminine saying, I knew that I've had this happen. You just showed me that you did the same thing that I was expecting would occur. And this is feminine almost again recognizing that and saying like, you just validated exactly my deepest fear here. And a feminine potentially, again, almost saying to a certain extent, and this is almost a feminine that's not even getting too involved in trying to like, is feeling like that need, like feminine wants to take a punch at something right now, but this is potentially at whatever's creating that sense of repetition, because this is feminine being like, This is coming from a state or space right now of the feminine being like, you're doing this, like this is, I know what this is. This is almost the feminine now saying and seeing this only. This is almost the feminine seeing like this only from that perspective right now, if that's what happened. And not even feeling like the masculine ever intended that to be a legitimate offer. Masculine, if you are moving in partnership with feminine, this is you potentially expressing to feminine the confusion point, and feminine immediately giving you that point of clarification. You may be feeling that point of disempowerment and seeing the fact of feminine articulating to you moments where that has happened to them. And again, if moving into divine union right now, this is masculine almost saying, that's not going to happen again. I'm not going to do that to you. If this is masculine energy that offered something to feminine and then the feminine asked for a pause point and masculine immediately pulled it away, you kind of realize now you're in a separation point with feminine that's going to be really hard to come back from. Because this is now a feminine energy that you see is painting you with this brush in terms of feeling like you never really meant to give it to them in the first place. This is almost masculine feeling incredibly disempowered right now, because again, this is a moment of masculine almost feeling in a way being like, you kind of see it. Again, you can't avoid seeing it. You see the fact that like you've kind of become the thing that feminine was afraid of. This could even be a lot of masculine energy, not even talking to that and communication with that energy right now, having other energy showing them and saying, can you see that can you see? Like, this is the lesson trying to come to masculine right now in multiple forms to say, can you see how this makes you come across? Can you see how this makes you look? Masculine, this is why this is becoming right now a journey of the self, because we see here for some of this masculine energy, if you just went back into this modality, you're catching yourself faster. You're seeing it faster. You want to immediately come back out of it. You want this to be a point of self-mastery and understanding. For other parts of masculine energy, what's been happening over the last few days has shown you a blind spot in your own person that you are feeling the conviction of making those adjustments and accommodations for. And again, this is that moment that effectively is helping to determine if the masculine energy is taking that lesson and going towards the feminine that may have helped inspire it with a point of clarification, of accountability, of articulating and saying, I see these things in myself right now. I want to change them. Or this is a masculine energy that is effectively feeling at a point of separation from energy that they feel like they can't come out of that with. They feel almost a hopelessness that they'll be out of that modality and instead potentially moving this forward and trying to manifest this going forward into the future. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Wands in combination with our Ace of Wands in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Oy vey. We've got our 10 of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy that are going through this moment right now. Masculine and feminine in divine union and divine partnership right now. It was just a feeling of general chaos around you right now. Feminine energy and masculine, this is what we see. What do we keep seeing with the masculine energy? Feminine energy, masculine energy right now, the point of conflict for masculine right now has a lot to do with the past rising back up to the surface. That's masculine's biggest anxiety point right now. Situations and circumstances from the past rising back up to the surface. Potentially even on account, not just for themselves right now, but for the feminine energy as well. Masculine's almost bearing the weight right now of both for the feminine. Feminine is more concerned right now with just the general. Feminine's not even thinking so much anxiety about the past so much right now as they are about like the general environment of everything around them right now. There is this feeling right now of feminine trying to navigate through some sense of chaos in their immediate sphere of influence. It's the feminine feeling like this is not necessarily this past. This isn't that, like masculine's going more into that like Scrooge moment, like the past and the past memories rising to the surface now. Feminine is trying to deal with like the present. Feminine's almost in a moment of being like, I don't have time to worry about the past. Past what? What past? I'm trying to deal with the immediate circumstances at hand. Like everything, it's like just right here. Feminine's like, I got enough to deal with This is almost feminine, again, being like masculine. You can deal with your past. You can deal with whatever ghost you got in your closet. Feminine's like, feminine's like, I'm like fortifying the door right now, trying to like navigate any of like the immediate issues at the time. Feminine's almost like, I don't even have time for the past right now. Feminine's like, I got enough to worry about right now. I'm not worrying about the past. I got to deal with this, right? So masculine and feminine is kind of funny because in a way, if in divine union, you guys are getting hit by both sides, but in different ways. Masculine's dealing more with the past coming back. Feminine's dealing more with the sense of crisis coming in the present moment. Now, masculine and feminine that are trying to come into divine union right now, what we are effectively seeing is this moment that we are recognizing that, again, feminine right now is almost looking, if again, for masculine and feminine, if you're moving into divine union right now, this is almost immediately continuing forward in that frequency. Masculine, again, recognizing this is a feminine that you had to pull back a little bit. You had to make sure that the feminine wasn't getting a repetition of past issues. That was that point of feminine literally saying to masculine, I was worried you were just going to try to pull the rug out from under me. Because feminine realizes and recognizes that these moves that you're changing, they're gonna require a lot of work. And now we see that feminine energy, much like the feminine energy in divine union already, is now into productivity mode. They just needed a minute to reflect what you were giving them. This is now feminine being like, no, let's overcome these hurdles. Let's get this done sooner rather than later. And for the masculine energy in this modality right now, that's why that bump may have felt like just like a little tiny bump, because this is a feminine that was like, no, let's wait. And now feminine's like, no, let's do it now. But again, also because feminine's looking right now at a lot of the practical hurdles of something. This wasn't a feminine that just negated this. This was a feminine energy that almost doing some internal calculus in what was potentially those hurdles and stopping points. So this is coming right back into now the feminine embodying where we saw the masculine a few days ago. Being like, okay, no, I want that. Let's now let's get into preparation mode. Let's see what's standing in the way. Let's navigate some of this crisis point. Let's do what we can right now to get these things out of the way that are standing in the way of us coming into better divine union. So masculine, just as you may have seen a sea change, just as feminine saw a sea change in you over the last few days, you probably saw a sea change that happened a lot faster with the feminine, basically pulling back a little bit, being like, no, yes. And all it took was you coming into a space of considering and valuing them and letting them be a part of that planning, bringing them in, allowing them to be a collaborator instead of something that feels like you are the one who is kind of making those determination points. Finding their comfort level is now leading you to have exactly what you were aspiring for just a few days ago. Consistency is key. Masculine energy, if you are in separation, this is that moment that we are effectively seeing wherein, again, if this is a feminine, that the masculine offered something and then because of your own trepidation immediately repulled it back. This is a feminine that's literally this could lead to a lot of fracturing right now, because this is almost a feminine that's really angry or frustrated or willing to go to bat on this, because this is effectively a feminine that's trying to say to masculine, you're just a source of chaos in my life. You're just creating chaos. This is a feminine that almost says to the masculine, what you're offering wasn't actually a consistent offer. It's just chaos because the inconsistency is the offer. You're offering me inconsistency. You're offering me something where you give it to me on Tuesday and then on Wednesday you pull it away again. This is a feminine almost looking at something and trying to articulate to the masculine and say, can you not see that you are creating this source of chaos between us? This is a feminine literally trying to say this to the masculine, because the feminine is trying to show the feminine masculine the forest, can you not see your forest between your trees? Can you not see that you are the source of the chaos? This is feminine literally trying to help the masculine here, almost to the point of saying, I'm doing this for you. I'm trying to show you this for you. The feminine energy around the masculine in separation is trying to say, I'm not even doing this for us. I'm trying to show you for the sake of you. Masculine, if you're in separation right now, you got this from a lot of sides right now. There's probably a lot of energy that's trying to say to you in some way, shape, or form, I'm trying to show you that you might be this, where some of this chaos is coming from. I'm trying to show you that this is what is there. And for the masculine in this modality right now, there is some coming to terms right now. And it's either going to come from one or two different modalities depending on how you are experiencing it. Either you are taking the note. You are taking the note. You are embodying the lesson. You're seeing it. You're saying, I see that there might be some aspects of myself that I need to navigate and work on, because when I am not in a sense of control of myself, I bring a lot of chaotic energy around circumstances or situations that make it hard, that make it more difficult than they need to be. Okay? Or this is a masculine energy that you are again, you are externalizing this. You are pushing back against this. And you're potentially looking at this and pointing the finger at feminine energy around you and saying, I'm not the source of the chaos. They're the source of the chaos. They're the ones doing these things. It's not me, it's them. Masculine energy, it's like one or two different modalities right now. One is potentially, again, coming into a state of accountability, coming into a state of acceptance, moving towards a feminine and basically trying to say to the feminine, I understand. I see how I created chaos in your life. For the other part of the masculine energy right now, this is potentially going forward and trying to articulate and state and say that it was not necessarily your own self, but more moving away from anything that's creating that point of conflict towards, again, trying to find feminine energy, manifesting this for yourself at this moment. But again, it's going to feel like more of a struggle point, because it's feeling like a lot of that chaos. It may feel like a little bit like everywhere you go, there you are. It's almost like that feeling like everywhere you go is chaotic, which is weird, right? It's weird. If everywhere you go, it feels like there's a lot of chaos. And there might be some people being like, that's weird, right? That's a little strange. All right, continuing to get clarity on these cards right now. Between our Justice card in combination with our Five of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Pentacles. Now, masculine. Is it me? Masculine and feminine right now that are in divine union and divine partnership. Again, there's this moment right now of navigating through any of these hurdles, navigating through any of these challenges, going through these spaces and places right now. It's feeling like a lot of shoring up energy is what we're seeing. All right, for the energy in divine union and partnership right now, what we are effectively seeing is this moment where, again, it's just holding on to the things that are important right now and having to navigate any of these hurdles on the way. Masculine and feminine right now, I need to express, this is the joint energy of the two modalities that we see that is creating a harmonic point in the divine union. Why? What do we got the masculine doing? Holding firm. What do we got the feminine doing? Ready to go to bat, right? So again, this is that Voltron effect of the two energies coming into combination and creating a perfect harmony. Masculine is actually, and again, it's going to feel a little counterintuitive, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. These roles are building and learning from each other, which means that they're learning to build outside of their own typical traditional skill set. Masculine is learning the ability of being more conservative, holding back more, utilizing that as a point of security, building that stability point. Feminine is getting more assertive right now. They're moving now more with that sense of being ready to really kind of amp up and fight against anything that feels like it is challenging them at this time. And this is creating a beautiful balance between the energies, if in divine union right now. Now, masculine and feminine that are trying to move into divine union right now, if you're moving into that frequency of divine union, you are potentially feeling like that bit of like a little, it's going to potentially feel like a little bit of like, this could feel like a little bit more of a conflict point, and it may require a little bit more explanation, and it's going to feel like a little bit of that like irony point happening here, because it could feel like a little bit of a role reversal. Because again, this is a feminine energy. Masculine is potentially explaining to feminine right? This is that point of clarification that we needed to happen. Again, masculine needed to put their words to clarify their actions. This was masculine almost saying to the feminine, I was just trying to rush forward. I wasn't trying to like take things over. This means a lot to me and I want to protect it. And feminine saying, I do too. I want to fight for this. I'm not going anywhere. This is something that means a lot to me. But this is feminine energy that's almost trying to say to the masculine, I just needed to be sure. I needed to be sure that you were sure that you wanted this before I put all of my effort and energy into it. Hence the balance. You're in the same frequency as the divine feminine, masculine, divine union. Masculine and feminine, that you use this as a conflict point, that this became a conflict point. If the masculine tried to offer something to the feminine withdrew, the miscommunication formed. Masculine withdrew the offer as a result of the feminine feeling like they were being oppositional to it. This is now creating a point of struggle and immediate separation, because this is a feminine that's showing or trying to say to the masculine, you did exactly what I thought you would do. You didn't do it. You didn't do it because you were actually offering me something. You're still withholding. And now you've just created conflict. These energies are now back into separation and they're mirroring each other. And masculine trying to say to feminine, I don't want to offer that to you because you only create conflict. Do you see how this is becoming the oppositional fight, like the ugly mirror that's happening here? Because these are two energies that aren't recognizing and seeing their own perspective on things. It's becoming, the offer itself is now becoming the point of conflict. And that is effectively assuring separation between these energies because it doesn't feel like it is balanced. And worse, both energies now feel like they are in the right. Okay, somebody needs to come into a point of concession here, because this could be like, a ridiculously frustrating separation, because it's a separation that's coming because of an offer that wasn't like, someone didn't show enough appreciation for the offer that was being put forth, right? Now, masculine and feminine, they're in this modality right now. Coming into a point of conciliation is going to be really key. And I think that the best way to navigate forward through this is really moving out of conflict and instead talking about what truly matters, talking about what it is that you truly want, and not allowing the conflict to override what is truly important. Let that be your point of balance. This isn't coming completely out of separation. There's something here that can be restored, but it needs mutual accountability to bring it into that focus. Masculine and feminine that are in separation right now, this is exactly why we see that the feminine is in separation. And I got to stress, this energy of feminine in separation right now could be feeling a little bit triggered. Could be a moment that they're feeling a little bit ready to I said, this is a feminine energy. If they're going forward right now in separation, feminine is doing so, but holding on very tightly. I even defined this yesterday. The feminine energy in separation right now, it's like they're allowing energy in, but they're opening like the door a crack. And they're saying basically, again, are you coming with problems? Or are you coming with solutions? Are you coming here in peace? Or are you just trying to create more problems for me? Feminine energy is being very, 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 very discerning on who they're letting have access, who they're letting come towards them right now, because feminine energy is effectively, again, that combination of feeling very much like they're holding on to what is important, but also just really ready to strike back forward if they feel like someone is not necessarily coming towards them in the right way. Okay? Masculine. You may be seeing this on the part of all the feminine around you right now. I did literally describe this yesterday. It's the same exact energy of yesterday, especially if you're a masculine in separation right now. You could just be feeling this moment that feels very hard because again, it makes you feel like, I'm going to say it again, like you got to walk a really, 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 really fine line right now. You may be even articulating it feels like you have to walk an incredibly fine line right now as it relates to being able to make any ground with feminine. And some of it is either coming from a point of confusion or a moment of understanding. Either this is a masculine energy that potentially is identifying and recognizing. It's feeling like that point of confusion, being like, I don't know why all the energy's like this. I don't know why everyone's coming down on me so hard. I don't know why everyone's coming forward to me in this way. Or you're starting to realize There's that point of understanding. There's that point of recognition in seeing and understanding and being like, I understand why the feminine energy around me is like this. Because everybody's trying to show you in some way. And a lot of it's trying to show you that you may have some points of adjustment that may help you not be a part of the problem, but be a part of the solution. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our 5 of Wands in combination with the 10 of Swords in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification. Does she look familiar? She was here yesterday. These cards are pretty much all the same cards that we received yesterday, returning back today. We have here our Queen of Swords, masculine and feminine right now. If in divine union and partnership, what did we say? There's a little bit of a role reversal coming through here. Feminine is very much in that role of feeling very eager. Feminine's itching. Feminine's itching. Just point them in the right direction right now is really the energy that feminine's going through right now, especially as it relates to circumstances and situations from the past rising to the surface. Because what is feminine doing as it relates to anything coming from the past? While masculine may be feeling a little bit disempowered about these things right now, feminine's not. Feminine's ready. This is like a feminine's like, retrograde, I'm ready for you. What do you got? What do you got? I'm ready. Come on. Because feminine is basically looking at anything that's coming towards them right now, if in divine union, or not, even if not, saying, are you here? Like, why are you here? Why are you here? Are you here to create more conflict? Whatever this is from the past, feminine is now feeling like they've just amped up. They're ready to face it. Feminine's like, I am not running from this. I am facing this right now. So whatever you have to bring forth to me, feminine's like, I'm here for it. Because, and for the feminine energy right now that is in divine union, feminine energy is doing so for the masculine. Feminine energy right now, if in divine union, is doing this because feminine is moving into a protective role with the masculine energy. Feminine is looking at the divine union and saying, I am protecting the divine union. Why are you here? What is bringing you forward? Regardless of what this is, whether these are metaphysical problems, whether these are people, whether these are situations, this is feminine that's like, feminine's like, I'm here. I'm guarding the gate, as you will, on the divine union energy. Masculine, you may be seeing this right now in your feminine energy, and you might be loving it. You might be feeling right now like there's something about the masculine looking at the feminine right now, embodying a lot of the lessons that you've been going through right now, and seeing that this is a feminine that in a moment, and this is why we see that the masculine appreciates this energy of the divine union. Because this is a feminine that when the masculine is feeling weak, the feminine doesn't embody that weakness. The feminine is almost saying, it's not your job. You don't have to be strong all the time. I got this. Feminine energy is like loading up the shotgun and going to sit on the rocking chair to a certain extent. And almost saying to the masculine, like, it's fine. Go take a nap. I got this, right? This is almost the feminine coming into that modality to a certain extent, right? Because this is a masculine that feels, again, the beauty of the divine union is feeling like the masculine has that sense of strong protective energy that doesn't feel like it is disempowering to the masculine right now. It feels like it is supportive. Now, I will say that one of the things that may be happening right now, as it relates to some circumstances or situations, may be some conflict points that's coming through right now as it relates to masculine and feminine energy in terms of how you're navigating things right now. Because again, one of the things that could be happening right now is, again, almost masculine. And one of the things that feminine may be doing right now for the masculine that may be helping is that masculine around any of those points of conflict may sometimes feel a bit more reactionary. And feminine is now almost creating that point of guidance to masculine, saying something along the lines of, don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. Don't let someone pull you into something that isn't ours to be pulled into. Feminine is taking that sword up, but feminine isn't necessarily wanting to utilize that sword. Feminine is just watching things right now from a very defensive perspective. The difficulty and hurdle right now for the energy that's potentially in divine union is feminine recognizes masculine's own ability of taking the bait. And this could even be a feminine right now that is holding back in being fully articulate on some of the difficulties that the feminine is going through right now, specifically because they don't want the masculine energy taking the bait on some stuff. This is almost feminine being like holding the masculine back and going, no, we don't need to like get ourselves involved in any point of conflict. We just need to make sure that we're in a space and state that we can be strong. So for feminine and masculine right now, this is how we see that they're handling any sense of crisis that's currently popping up around them at this time. Now, masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union, this is the conflict point. And unfortunately, that conflict point may not necessarily feel right now like it's so much on the outside in, so much as it has to do with trying to come into a state of easement as it relates to how to go forward from this point. Something may have just led you into separation, and it's a hairy separation. But for the energy that's not in separation, this is effectively what we're seeing is happening, that's moving the same energy into that point of divine union right now. Because again, this is a masculine energy that's almost trying to say to a certain extent, if this occurred, you confused me because you seemed like you were pushing back on something that I knew that you wanted. And this is feminine almost again amplifying to the masculine, saying it's not that I didn't want it. I wanted to make sure that it was real. Masculine having that point of potentially even now like having to navigate a little bit of that hurdle, because it does feel like a little bit of the ego may have been dinged in this, but understanding why is almost giving that point of clarity that's allowing this to be a recoverable point. Masculine and feminine that moved into separation over this is why we see that it is so difficult. It's such a retrograde fight, because it's almost this point that we're potentially seeing where masculine is feeling emasculated to a certain extent, because the masculine feels to a certain extent like their ego was dinged if they tried to offer something to feminine, and feminine didn't just eagerly like accept it and go, oh my God, thank you. Like this is almost a masculine that potentially like let their ego pull them away from something. And now realizing that it wasn't for the fact that the feminine didn't desire it. It was the feminine just being careful, being conscientious, trying to navigate healthy boundaries. And this is now even a feminine that may be trying to amplify this right now to a masculine. But the masculine energy, if you're in separation right now, you're letting your ego guide you into further not refusing to hear it, because it's a moment that you're not looking at this as a fact that the feminine's trying to amplify to you, that they were just trying to maintain healthy boundaries. You're just looking at it as the feminine trying to create conflict in your life and creating further conflict as a result. Feminine in separation right now, if this is happening, this is almost the feminine, like, and this is the thing I appreciate right now for the feminine that's in separation. If this is happening, this is feminine energy almost calling a halt to the fight before it even starts. This is a feminine energy if this is happening right now. If this is now a source of an illogical fight. If this is a fight that doesn't have any logical sense to it, because this is a feminine that's trying to amplify to a masculine, I want what you want. And you're still now not giving it to me, even though you were offering it just a bit ago. This is feminine calling it out. And feminine's literally saying, I've experienced this before. I know what this is. I know what this is. This was not, because this is feminine looking at masculine, if this is happening right now, and saying, this was not an offer. This was a control. This was not a divine union offer. This was something you were offering, but is now clearly becoming a point of control. You're utilizing the offer itself as a way to try to control the situation or circumstance. Feminine's just calling a halt to it. Cut cord. Feminine saying no. Feminine almost again being triggered, looking at the points of the past, saying, I've been here before. I know what this is. And what we appreciate about this is feminine again doing that strength training. Because this is feminine saying, I'm not taking this bait. I'm not letting you turn this into a point of argument. I'm not letting this become a point where this spirals out. This is feminine basically saying, I'm just cutting. I'm just stopping this here. I'm just stopping it. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. Masculine, you may be seeing this on the part of the feminine. And this could be, again, if you're in separation over this right now, this could feel like a moment that you feel a little uncertain about how to proceed right now, because now you're seeing a moment that you recognize that you potentially want to go back to something right now. But again, it's going to take a moment of accountability and recognizing that something that the feminine was worried that you were doing, you've basically done. you're catching yourself quicker and doing it. But again, it's almost this point of realizing that now this feminine is very, very defensive against you, because you basically just said, like, you basically just proved to them that you're doing exactly what they were afraid that you would do. And so now you're recognizing that this feels like a very hard road to toe, because this is now a feminine that's like back in a space or place where it's like you realize you can't even offer it again, because now the feminine energy is so guarded against you that, like, you realize you see yourself in this. This is like a mirror moment where you're seeing through the feminine's eyes exactly why they're in this space, or like why they were so defensive about it in the first place. You just proved them right. Masculine, that's that message coming through one way or another right now. Again, if this is masculine that's been in separation, this is that point of observation and seeing this part of yourself right now that you can't necessarily avoid. And again, this is that moment for masculine that is either that point of coming into a state or space of accountability. Wanting, again, that sense of personal accountability that you are ready to take, determining that you're willing to fight to move towards a feminine right now, to try to prove to them and say, I'm not that person. I'm not that person anymore, or I don't want to be that person. Or this is a moment right now of masculine taking this lesson going forward with the affirmation of change towards new feminine energy that you'll hopefully move towards at this time. But again, recognizing and realizing and seeing the fact that the energy itself is very defensive against you. It's feeling like there is this point of protectiveness, but you're understanding why now. You're understanding why. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Swords in its reversal. In combination, we got our double 10 cards here. Look at this. Double 10 cards. Double 10 cards. So 10 of Swords in its reversal in combination with our 10 of Pentacles. So this is so retrograde, guys. This is literally like, look at this. Things from the past rising up and just chaotic energy in general. May I please have one card to clarify? A clarification coming through right now. King of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now, in divine union and divine partnership. What we are effectively identifying is, again, for the masculine energy right now that's in divine union and partnership, there is this moment that is coming through right now as a feeling of frustration. Something is rising to the surface here that is a little bit difficult and problematic. It is challenging your own feeling of stability at this moment. But we are effectively seeing at this time, again, for the energy in this modality right now, this is that point of articulation. Masculine is moving right now very slowly, very carefully. And again, it is a moment of masculine potentially feeling triggered at this time. Masculine energy, just be conscientious of your own triggers right now is what we're really seeing. Because there's something about, again, for masculine right now, there is a little bit of this perfect storm energy that is happening today in combination with situations and circumstances from the past that create some sense of chaos, that shake your own feeling of stability at this moment. Feminine's ready to go to bat about it. Feminine energy is almost a point of guidance right now. Feminine is almost trying to navigate to masculine and almost trying to help the masculine recognize not to make a situation worse by letting themselves take the bait, if you will, not letting those situations impact your own feeling of stability at this time. Feminine is almost acting as that point of guidance right now for the masculine energy in that modality or in that energy. Feminine, the reason we see that the feminine energy is rising to this challenge right now is seeing the masculine energy at a point of disadvantage. Almost immediately empowers the feminine energy in partnership right now, almost saying to them, not on my watch. Not on my watch. No way, no how. This is feminine energy literally just rising to the challenge, because this is like the only reason the feminine energy would rise to the challenge. This is the feminine energy basically saying, like, we're going to get through any of this right now. And again, this is the feminine trying to come to the aid of the masculine in as much as they possibly can at this point to help them through any of this feeling of instability. Now, masculine and feminine that are trying to move into divine union at this time, this is potentially feeling a lot more like a point of difficulty, because what we are effectively seeing at this time is this moment that for the energy trying to come into divine union, what we are effectively seeing at this time is a point of navigating a lot of these situations and circumstances from the past. Masculine may even be amplifying to feminine right now. Again, if this is moving in a positive way, something about the way that the feminine navigated something, or their own feeling of, again, pulling back and then pushing forward, did create a feeling of instability in the masculine, because it's in a way the feminine almost like amplifying the masculine, the thing that the feminine was afraid of in the masculine. And the feminine potentially, again, if coming from a state or space of empathy, effectively articulating to the masculine and trying to give clarity that it's not them being fickle here, that it isn't a feminine that doesn't know what they want, that this is a feminine energy that wanted to be confident that something from the past wasn't reoccurring. And that's almost giving that point of optics to the masculine right now that may be feeling a little bit like a point of instability, because again, it's the feminine almost having to explain that some of that may have been created by masculine energy that was less than stable in the past. So for masculine energy right now, making sure that one's own ego isn't dinged by that, but almost just taking the note of the feminine being conscientious and cautious of stable masculine energy is that point of accountability in terms of the masculine recognizing that this is almost a feminine energy is trying to say, I wanted to make sure that you weren't coming through like that. I wasn't trying to encourage that, and I wasn't trying to say that I didn't want what you were offering me. This is that point of conciliation that we're seeing that both energies need to make, and that's why I was saying communication was key. For masculine energy and feminine that are having these conversations, it's allowing for something more productive going forward. For masculine and feminine that use this as the point of separation, it's like it is literally an impossible situation to a certain extent right now, because what we're effectively seeing is, again, this is now, if this is a masculine that offered something to feminine on a Tuesday, feminine showed some trepidation, and masculine pulled it away on a Wednesday, then this is a moment that masculine, you kind of realize that you've just like effectively painted yourself into some kind of corner here, because this is a feminine that literally is like, you are the source of the chaos. You are the source of the chaos. This is a repeating cycle. You offered me something and then you withdrew it. You offered me something. I showed a little bit of conscientious, smart boundaries, and you then withdrew what you were offering me. You are that source of chaos. And this is a feminine that now it's almost this impossibility point if the masculine is trying to offer it again, because this is literally the feminine saying, can you not see the instability is the constant? The instability is the only stable point. The only consistency is the inconsistency. Masculine, you may be seeing this right now. Like, this is a feminine, if again, this is coming towards you, you potentially see they've got a point. You potentially see they got a point, but you're probably potentially very resistant or reluctant to admit it, because admitting it would be basically admitting that you are inconsistent. It's not something that you're eager to articulate upon. But I have to stress, for the energy of masculine that wants to move back into the divine frequency with feminine, admission is the first sign of solution, because you have to admit that there is a something that needs to be resolved in order to move into that state of clarity. For some of the masculine energy, it's that, again, it is that point of accountability. Being able right now in a point of separation, literally to go towards a feminine and say, I need you to know that I now understand that I was a part of the problem. I was a part of the chaos. I had some role in the chaos around you. I'm willing to take accountability for that. It's not the fact that the feminine isn't open to the masculine coming towards them. It is the feminine needing to hear the masculine say that as the point of entry. It's like the feminine is effectively looking right now, and that's what I mean with the feminine holding these boundaries and being like, either you are accountable for your own actions, or you're just going to perpetuate the same chaotic energy through which you left. It's all coming from the point and space of accountability. Feminine, this is literally why feminine is so trepidatious right now. because it's not the fact that feminine doesn't have energy coming towards them right now. It's more about whether the energy that's coming towards them recognizes that they are a source of chaos, that they are the source of potential, that point of disruption. And feminine is looking at that energy coming back to them right now and saying, have you healed this? Are you now at a point of stability, or are you going to continue to be a bit of a chaos? Like are you going to continue that being that source of chaos and instability? Because this is a feminine saying, like, one rotten apple ruins the stable bunch here. This is the energy literally saying, like, if you can't come in stable, you're just going to be like, you're like Pigpen. You're like Pigpen. You got like that like air of like, you're just like, it's like it's like all around you. You can't see the fact that you're the source of the instability, right? And this is feminine basically like having to like hold that boundary up, not from, again, a lack of love, but saying, if you can't see this in yourself, I can't help you. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between the Four of Pentacles in combination with our Queen of Swords. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Again, masculine and feminine energy in divine union and divine partnership. Again, for masculine and feminine in this modality, this is a point of positivity. It's not the fact that everything is going perfectly right now. And again, it's not the fact that there aren't some situations and circumstances from the past that are rising up right now that feel like a challenge point, that are creating some sense or space of chaos or disruption at this time. It is more a moment of about taking new approaches to be able to handle things. Masculine is moving in a fashion right now of, again, and this is literally what's very funny about this is literally right now, this is feminine energy now almost trying to like guardian over the masculine energy and their own points of action. This is feminine almost looking at masculine right now, and masculine wanting to take some point of activity, potentially even seeing masculine's own tendency of wanting to take more of an assertive move on things, and feminine almost saying to the masculine, don't. Stay where you are. Hold on to what's important. Feminine almost saying, we've got this. I've got this. Just stay where you are. Don't move. Hold on to things. Stay in that space and place. Don't let the energy trigger you. This is literally feminine energy right now, helping masculine in a point, if in divine union, navigate through something that feels like it is set to trigger them. And this is literally feminine going, don't get triggered. Don't let it trigger you. Just hold firm. Feminine is actually taking this as a point of strength, and almost feminine being like, and listen, like, do not engage. Do not come into that space. Just hold on to what we have. Navigate this right now. And feminine, again, taking that much more strong role, taking that point of strength and saying, we're going to come up with new solutions together. And it's that moment right now, again, of masculine leaving themselves open to the feminine energy right now through a point of difficulty, through some of these things that they're equally sharing right now, and utilizing this as a point of insight, utilizing this as a point of guidance. Instead of acting, again, instead of reacting to situations and circumstances, having this moment be a point of thinking things through, looking at patterns, identifying what can change, what you need to adjust for. This is literally masculine and feminine, utilizing the energy that they've learned from the other one to be able to approach problems with new solutions. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union right now, this is a moment that we are effectively identifying and recognizing, wherein we see that the energy itself is one, wherein masculine and feminine are embodying different roles here right now. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine energy right now, again, is potentially feeling a little bit, again, and this is that point that could feel very, again, either that this is more connective tissue forming right now through a point of a hurdle or a difficulty, or it's going to feel like something that is potentially feeling polarizing, because this is almost a masculine energy that is now explaining to the feminine and saying, the reason I was trying to move forward was not that I was trying to like have full control over things. It's that this is something that is very valuable to me, that is very important, and I want to do everything I can to secure it. This is masculine putting their words now into action by articulating to feminine why they had that adjustment point in the first place, what caused them to move so quickly and so abruptly that it startled the feminine energy to a certain extent. And this is the feminine, again, amplifying to the masculine, saying, it wasn't that I didn't want what you were offering me. I was just being careful. I didn't want to feel, I was being cautious. I was trying to have a healthy boundary and make sure that it was real. And this is masculine and feminine taking this as a point of positivity, of contemplation, of deeper understanding of the other that is leading to, again, welcome to divine union. You're learning from each other. You're utilizing the problem points not as separation points, but as notes that you're building into better understanding of the self. If you are masculine and masculine offered something to feminine this week, and feminine was a little resistant to take it because of a sense of trying to protect the self, and this is now masculine and feminine that are now feeling validated in those positions, and this is a masculine energy that's being so stubborn right now that masculine's now saying, well, I don't want to offer it to you anymore. This is a feminine that's literally trying to say to the masculine, that's the problem. Like, it never felt like something you needed to offer. It's something that should have been us jointly deciding that we're doing together. Divine union isn't like a ball. You can't just hand it to someone. You can't just say, do you want my ball? Like, it's something that you create together. And this is literally the feminine trying to amplify this, that there's something here that they're not grasping, in the sense of the feminine saying, I want that with you, but it's not something that you can just give me. It's something that we create together. And this is the feminine, again, this is why they're in separation. Feminine's looking at masculine and being like, they are being withdrawn and stubborn. And masculine is looking at feminine and saying, she is being argumentative and doesn't want me. Right? And like, this is that moment that, again, in separation, it's feeling really frustrating because, again, it's looking at each other and wanting the same thing. But now you've guys basically painted yourselves into a corner because you're not are talking to each other and explaining how you feel. So again, masculine, if you're in this modality right now, you have to be more sentimental and understanding of the perspective of a feminine that was protecting their heart space and making sure that you were consistent. And now you kind of proved to them that you're inconsistent because you pulled back on an offer that you gave forth to them. And again, feminine is kind of, again, feminine in point right now is at a space where they feel like they can't go chasing after this, because that's almost a moment of, again, feminine's just trying to hold some healthy boundaries here. Masculine and feminine, this is like a bit of a point here. For feminine and separation, this is exactly why the feminine energy isn't chasing after the masculine on this right now. This is feminine energy that literally feels like the masculine wants them to chase after them and fight, but this is feminine saying there's nothing to fight about. This is a masculine that's showing the fact that they're withholding, and the feminine basically saying to themselves, if the masculine energy can't see their own tendency of doing this, I can't show it. I can't make them not do that. I can show it to them. But feminine's almost saying to themselves, I can't change it. I can only show it to them so that they can make a different choice. And that's why we see that this is a feminine that, again, is stopping themselves before engaging or gunning and taking the bait into a fight that feels like it's not going to go anywhere, because the feminine feels validated and is just trying to articulate their own perspective to the masculine. Okay? Masculine and feminine. Masculine in this modality right now, there is a feeling that may be feeling very isolating, because, again, if you're in this modality, either you just came into this and you're recognizing, you're seeing this, but you're very stubborn to admit it. You're very stubborn to admit that the feminine's trying to show you something about yourself. You see it, but you're very stubborn to admit it. Or masculine energy, there's something that was a blind spot to you that's been coming through over the last few days that you see and you recognize, but you're not sure what to do with it now that you see it. Again, it's leading for that path forward right now, but it is requiring a change. And that's a change that feels very stubborn because, again, it's admitting. It's almost requiring, again, for some of this masculine energy, it's coming into a point of conciliation. It's coming into a point of going towards the feminine and having to say, I see what you were trying to show me. Or it is a moment right now of, again, deciding to navigate forward from this point, but feeling to a certain extent like it's very difficult because, again, it's almost as feeling like the new feminine energy you're moving towards right now, you have to walk a very fine line with. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Swords in combination with our King of Pentacles in its reversal. Clarification coming through right now with, oh my God, this is the most retrograde reading. Masculine and feminine in divine union and partnership right now. There is this moment. Look at this energy we've got happening here. Situations and circumstances from the past rising back up to the surface right now. That trigger point being hit. Feminine energy has been doing some like Rocky strength training exercise around this right now. Feminine energy is looking at these things, and feminine's almost been like, feminine's like again, I told you, feminine's like standing at the door with like with a shotgun and like a rocking chair being like, I was waiting for this. Like feminine's like, no. Like feminine's just like, absolutely not. And more than anything, what we effectively see to a certain extent is almost feminine moving in this modality of working with masculine and almost having to say to masculine right now, don't you dare get triggered by anything. Don't you let this get to you. Don't you let this bother you. Don't go back to the situations and circumstances. Don't bring that back here. Don't go into that modality right now. It's not creating that space or place that's positive for you. Feminine's almost already seeing the fact that it's creating that point of weakness in the masculine right now. It's almost like creating the feminine, seeing it and effectively doing everything they can right now to help the masculine in this moment where they're feeling more or less like they're in that point of like, you know, recognizing these as weaknesses of the masculine. Feminine's just basically saying, and what's nice about the divine union right now is feminine almost saying to the masculine, you don't have to be strong. You know, you don't have to do anything. In fact, feminine's almost saying, it's better if you don't. Feminine's almost looking right now and saying to the masculine to a certain extent, all you need to do right now is not take the bait. It's not go back to situations and circumstances that are harmful. All you need to do is just kind of hold firm. This is feminine embodying the lessons of strength that the masculine has been teaching the feminine over the last few weeks about setting firm boundaries. And this is literally a feminine saying to the masculine, I'm telling you this because you taught it to me. You're the one that taught me how to do this. I'm saying it to you now as well. I'm giving you back your lesson. I'm giving you back the karma, the positive karma that you gave me on learning how to do this. I'm now doing it for you in kind. Masculine in this modality right now, you are experiencing that right now. You're going through some situations or circumstances that may potentially feel very triggering. They may feel very difficult. And you've got, again, the difference right now, the difference between the past and now is that you feel like you have that supportive energy around you right now. You've got that energy that's standing there by your side. You're feeling that strength. You're feeling that point of strength. And that is helping you right now, even though, again, there is this feeling of, again, this is feeling more like a personal battle right now for masculine energy because there's something here that feels like it is so triggering, that is almost calling you forward to move into something that you know isn't the right direction. Masculine and feminine right now that are moving into divine union and partnership. This is a lot of that work that's happening right now in the partnership itself, and it's coming at a very difficult point because this is feminine bringing the lesson to the masculine. Masculine, again, if this was a moment that you tried to offer something to feminine and then feminine held back with boundaries, masculine, if you're recognizing this, it's not the fact that your own ego may have been dinged in this. It's seeing and understanding that this is a feminine that wasn't trying to do it from a state or space of hurting you or not desiring something, but a feminine trying to evidence and keep evidence of healthy boundaries. That is why we see masculine. This is feeling like a little bit of an internal, emotional, egoic strength training exercise because you're working very hard not to take it personally and instead not to let yourself get triggered by your own ego in terms of spoiling what you're trying to create with the feminine right now. And for the masculine in that modality right now, this is feeling like a bit of like that sensation of almost feeling that need to pull back, but pushing yourself forward through it. Almost saying to yourself, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do what the feminine is saying that they think I'm going to do, because that's the feminine almost trying to tell the masculine, like, I know that you may potentially feel that, but I'm trying to tell you that that's not what's happening here. Masculine that's in separation over this right now, this is a moment that, again, potentially feels a little bit like you painted yourself into a corner, especially if, again, You offered something to feminine. Feminine evidenced just boundaries, healthy boundaries, a sense of caution before taking it. And if you then took it to zip away with it and say, forget it, I'm not offering it to you, you can see the fact that you already let yourself get triggered. And this is now feeling almost like an impossibility point because, again, there's a resistance in admitting that that occurred. But really the only way forward right now is through a point of accountability. This is a feminine energy that is willing to effectively allow you back so long as you are able to articulate to them and say, I see that that was on me. I see that I just did what you just told me you were afraid would happen. I see that I let myself get triggered. And it's the accountability that potentially, again, allows for some continuation back into the divine union frequency. But it only comes in acknowledging that you observe what you effectively did, right? Masculine energy in separation right now, this is the same modality. If you're in separation because there's something that has been brought to your attention that you did from a state of being triggered, there needs to be a point of accountability in admitting to someone and showing the energy and saying to them, I see that I was the source of instability there. I see why that occurred. I understand that. I'm here again to articulate that to you because it's the observation of saying, I see what I caused and I'm not going back to that. I don't want to do that anymore. Building that sense of, again, accountability or masculine energy right now, moving forward, seeing these aspects of yourself at this time, being able to make modifications and changes, and again, recognizing right now effectively that doing so is almost necessary because if this is new energy you're moving towards right now, it's almost like the boundary is up. You're seeing it all over the place. You're seeing all the energy in this modality to a certain extent. A lot of that caution, but a deep understanding as to why. Final card for today's spread between our Four of Cups in combination. This is the most retrograde reading today, okay? Between our Four of Cups in combination with our Seven of Swords. One card to clarify, please. Chariot in its reversal. So again, masculine and feminine energy right now that are working in divine union and partnership. This is all about understanding and observing the obstacles, but not letting yourself get triggered by them. This is the same card that we saw coming up yesterday, same position. What we're effectively seeing at this time is, again, a moment, masculine and feminine energy. If in divine union, it's not that there isn't a hurdle here, but it's making sure that you don't let that hurdle block you or stop you or cause any more like giant hurdles or pitfalls at this time. This is literally looking at something right now and making sure that you don't accidentally take a small problem and make it a bigger one. It is identifying these things for what it is, and it is requiring a moment of looking back at past situations, not wanting to repeat the mistakes of the past, taking new approaches to handling any of these momentary blockages. This is so retrograde. This is literally what the retrograde is for. It's not the fact that the retrograde shows up to confound everything. It is a moment that lets us ascertain and assess new problem-solving skills, new ways of adapting to difficult situations. Masculine and feminine that are moving into this modality of divine union right now. And again, a lot of this has to do with not repeating mistakes of the past, not going back to situations or circumstances that were harmful, not taking the bait, not letting yourself get triggered. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union right now. This is a divine union that's literally coming into being with something that feels like it is triggering. Because again, for the feminine and masculine in this modality right now, it is that point of articulation of feminine trying to say, I want to make sure that the past wasn't repeating itself. But the only way to make sure that I had to check if the past wasn't repeating itself was to create a point of pause to make sure that you were serious about what you were offering. For the feminine that was seeing this right now, it's that point of articulation to masculine that may be a little bit difficult, because this is a masculine that was feeling more like this is a feminine that felt like they were vacillating in what the masculine was offering. Both energies need to express empathy to be able to recognize the perspective of the other, to be able to overcome this hurdle, thereby allowing for the divine union to come into play. Versus the energy that may be doing the opposite, which is instead of building from a state of empathy, of not repeating the mistakes of the past, potentially repeating the mistakes of the past, and now having the other energy literally trying to show you that you are repeating something that they have already experienced. Literally saying, this already occurred. I'm showing you. The reason I reacted the way I did was because it occurred. And you either just amplified that this is a repetition in a negative context, or you're going to take a different choice. You're going to make a choice that is more positive. So for all energies at play here, it's not the fact that there isn't a sense of something from the past returning. It's allowing yourself a new option, a new opportunity, taking a different pathway as it relates to how you're going to navigate it. That is going to be that foundational moment. For the energy right now in separation, this is the feminine energy, again, potentially feeling that call back to the past. We see here there's a lot of energy around the feminine right now, potentially from the past rising to the surface. But the feminine is utilizing the point of moving forward by identifying and basically calling the energy to task and saying, are you repeating cycles, or are you here with something different? Are you here with more of the same? Are you just bringing more swords? Are you just bringing more conflict? Or are you actually here with something different? State your business is how feminine energy is effectively doing this right now, because this is the feminine energy that is trying to see if the energy around them is coming back to them, but if it's learned the valuable lessons, if it's found what it needed to find. Masculine energy in separation right now, this is that moment that we effectively see that the masculine energy at this time is in the modality of deciding what it is that you actually want. There's a feeling right now of potentially, again, that listlessness, that hovering in limbo at this moment is showing you the difference between your own past behavior, your own past cycles. You're being shown something that's on repeat, the record skipping here. You may be feeling like you're repeating some cycles right now. And this is that moment that is effectively identifying to you to a certain extent whether you're going to repeat the song again or if you're going to try something a little bit different. And that is that moment that is helping you see your own blockages versus what feels productive. And it's all coming through in a state of different choices. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now. Hierophant. 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 So the Hierophant, again, what we are seeing here is, again, all of this is about commitment. This is all that focus on commitment right now as it relates to what this looks like. Masculine and feminine energy that are in divine union right now. It is feeling a point right now of doing everything possible to work on preserving the partnership itself. Feminine is going to bat, man. Feminine in divine union right now, like I said, feminine is like going to bat, because for feminine, it's not about kind of taking that more assertive position. Feminine is not doing it for themselves. Feminine does it when they feel like they've got something that they're working to protect. Masculine, this is like mama bear energy. Masculine energy right now, this is that moment that, again, it feels like your own sense of commitment is being challenged to some degree, because, again, it is something that is pushing back against your own commitment right now. But again, it is forcing you to like confront these things because they're triggering situations, and the strength of the commitment is almost helping you right now navigate through them. Masculine energy coming into partnership, it is this divine union energy that is literally the feminine trying to show you the difference between offering something and what commitment actually is. Feminine's almost trying to say to masculine right now, there is a difference between you offering something, an action point, versus us actually being in union. The commitment between us is something that requires consistency. The consistency is the commitment. This is feminine trying to articulate this to a masculine, especially if this is a masculine that pulled away when a feminine showed a little bit of resistance to something. Masculine, this is a moment that you may be developing a better understanding of commitment, because again, there's something here that it wasn't the sense of feeling like there wasn't a commitment opportunity here, but it is the difference between feeling a commitment that can be offered versus one that two energies create between themselves. It's a different perception on commitment. It's not something you can give, it's something that you create with another person. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is a moment for feminine that, again, It is looking right now on the commitment of the self. Feminine has made a commitment to commitment. Feminine is literally like committed themselves to healthy, positive commitments. Feminine is feeling challenged by a lot of energy around them that doesn't necessarily want to it's not even the fact that needs to be it's not even the fact that whatever shape that is, it's more of the feminine being like, you need to tell me what it is you want to be able for me to identify if this is something that we can create together. And feminine's literally looking at masculine right now and saying, are you committed to what it is that you actually desire? What is that? What shape is that? Explain it. Articulate it. Masculine in separation right now. That's a question you're potentially asking yourself. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind that if you book a private reading, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never PM you. I will never DM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these messages. And we will do this again tomorrow.